Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay.
A little bit of land goes a long, long way. If you believe fracking is okay, a little bit of land goes a long, long way. Sign the lease, bring the rigs today. Everybody say money,
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall of the night's sensation.
Money is my god. Welcome. It's Sunday, it's our time. It's the shop. Welcome to the shop. I hope you had a great week. Mine was okay. I saw my parents-in-law, which made it so and so. But other than that, pretty good week. So let's greet everyone in the chat, and then we begin for our weekly review of this incredible episode, episode 8. Better than episode 7. In the chat, Emily, Delta Schlin, Caro, Jack Soda, Dark Magic, Sasha, COP, Felicia, Slightly Sazy, Hector Mora, Lizzie Maciel, Ellie Ra, Deborah, Green Goddess, Mertzana, Joey, San, Frank, Blazing, Mariah P, Nora, Caleb, Joseph, Santiago, UVJS, Metalhead Girl, Angel M, Tiagi, Rodeo, Melissa, Martina, Ahoy, Captain Milk, Andre Mises, Noble Ward, Kashmir Kitty, and everybody else who joined it right now. Thank you so much for coming. D15, I hope you're doing great. Let's keep the Ukraine people in our hearts. Good Lord. That's such a fucked up situation, but it's been going on like that for 8 years. So, I am not qualified to talk about it. I'm just saying war sounds like shit, and I don't support that in the slightest. Now let the people more informed than me talk about it and don't add to the noise in the background. The last thing you need is poor information going around. But yes, of course they have our support. Okay, so what do we have this week? We have an okay episode. I would say it was kind of okay. The judging was fucked up, but let's be honest, we are kind of used to it. By this point, we have grown a thick skin about that. What are we going to do? We're going to do the review for episode 8. Then after that, we have our Kiki time. We can talk about whatever we want. I didn't watch the last episode of UK versus the World. I gave up on that. It's just too much. It's upsetting. It's a shit show. And, if you don't have fun watching it, I know that 8 watching is a thing, but I cannot do that too much. It starts to become annoying. I prefer to watch something that I'm excited about, like Drag Race Thailand Season 1. I am at the top 4. Don't give me any spoilers. I am loving it. It's incredible. It's just incredible. It's as good as everybody told me during the years to watch it. It's fantastic. Jacob, I recently rewatched Under the Big Top, and now I can't get Eve 6000's vocals out of my head. I told you it's good. Canada Season 2 is the best Drag Race that we had last year, if we don't count UK Season 2, because we just had half of the season. We had the whole season, but it was supposed to come out before. I don't really count it as a 2021 season. Martina, in this episode we had the confirmation that you were right about Georges and Orion. I told you. Sorry, I cannot speak tonight. I need a little bit more of liquid energy. 1 second. I told you that there was something going on in there. There was something going on in there, and Daya was not happy about it. She was having none of it. She was like, I am such a top. I am such a top. I will top Georges. In my fantasy, of course. She never said anything like this. And, Orion probably went there. I was living. Tyagi, so glad you're giving Thailand the recognition it deserves. It deserves all of it. It deserves all of it. I cannot scream into the microphone. I'm not sure if my filters are actually working properly. But every time you hear Artoraya screaming music when she wants the music, I am living. You hear me screaming from one room to the other, music! It's great. I am living. It's camp. Hector, the cryptic of this episode were full of bullshit more than usual. I know. Which reminds me, do I have the cryptic? Because last time I was like, yeah, let's go to the cryptic, and I didn't have my footage ready. There it is. Now it's in position. Where am I? Joey, in Untucked, when Orion left, Georges wrote her a note saying she had a crush on them. Really? I completely forgot about that. John Patrick Young, joining a little bit late, sending love. Thank you so much. Lovish, the only top is you. Oh, girl, you wish. Remember, the goddess always rewards versatility. You have much more fun. Why do one thing when you can do two? Come on. Metalhead girl, what the fuck did Mamoru wear again? Somehow I didn't notice that she was she looking that bad? I didn't notice, actually. Usually if she looks like shit, I'm always like, face palming, not palm facing. Face palming. Like, what the hell is she wearing? What happened to Mathu? Can somebody help? I don't know. But I didn't notice this one, because usually I notice when she, it's also my sense of, what looks good. So you never know. Okay, let's start the review. As usual, super chats if you want to support the channel. We also have a Patreon. We also have a Discord. All of the good links are in the description. Comments at top RPDR videos. They will be highlighted for me. And if there are things that you would like to discuss in more detail, you can join after the review, and I am all yours. So, let's begin. Welcome to the Chop, and in this episode we have the rise of Daya, the underdog villain. And of course Carrie Colby thrown under the bus, because why not? Then Jasmine solidified as the narrator of the season. She's going to be our spicy Jen. A ton of production magic for the challenge, of course. Then the cryptiques, the lip sync, and the speculations as usual. I don't have a confessional chart because I didn't have time to do that, which is really a pity because Jasmine narrated the whole episode. She probably had 2 whole minutes of narration. It was so much. She was all over the place all the time. Fantasia, no spoilers banner. You are absolutely right. Wait a moment. Okay, let me pin the comment. And there we go. Okay, it should be visible. Damien, £1.79. Thank you so much. I don't know if I'm delusional, but Willow was my pick to win. You're not delusional. She was not my pick to win. She was my second best. I would have gone with Bosco. Absolutely, and without any doubt. Blazing, what Alicia Keys was right all along? Well, she's not really an underdog. It looks like they cannot really decide if they want her to be... What's the word? If they want her to be a villain or a redeemed villain. It looks like, the edit is schizophrenic as usual. So one episode she's a villain, the other episode she's redeemed, Then she becomes a villain again, so we are fully expecting her to redeem herself again during next episode. We are going to see about that. So we are back in the workroom, and it's time to introduce the narrative for the episode. Daya is a villain again, and she has beef with Georges. So we have a confessional of Jasmine coming out of nowhere saying, well, it was okay that Camden won, but Daya Betty didn't deserve the win. She's taking a dump on Daya right in the beginning. But don't get confused, because the villain is not Jasmine, it's Daya Betty. Because a fraction of a second later, the editing is already telling you who is the villain here, because we have a completely humanized picture of Jasmine. We have a ton of queens giving her credit. We have a throwback to Untucked, the moment she came out as a trans woman and she accepted herself. And we also have Carrie Colby coming in a confessional praising Jasmine. So don't get it twisted. Daya Betty is the villain here. Jasmine is the one calling her out. Vanessa for $5, thank you so much. I made it was my daughter's baptism today. Also, don't forget to click like and subscribe to this video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, but you didn't have to run. Come on. Come on. And how do you say when you do felicitations? Something like that? Congratulations? Well, congratulations, it's like when you win something. Well, a good thing, good for you. Where are we? Oh, next slide. There we go. It's a new day in the workroom and the library is open. We have a mini challenge. Do you realize the importance of it? We haven't had a mini challenges in 3 episodes. But we have a mini challenge. We have the library, but we don't have the snatch game. Why don't we have the snatch game? The two things always go hand in hand. Why don't we have a snatch game? Instead, we have this girl group challenge, retro hit, whatever it is. But what am I complaining about? At least we have some good reads, and we have a ton of them because, differently from season 13, these queens can read each other's. Apart from Daya Betty, she's vulgar. But seriously, she really is. Everybody else was fantastic. I loved Angeria's read for Camden. You can really see that they're building a relationship in there. And I love the Willow Pill reads for Georges. She called her Jorgina Cha Cha and told her that Orion's ass is not on the food pyramid. So from now on, I'm going to call Georges Jorgina Cha Cha, if we are all okay with that. She's now officially Jorgina Cha Cha. And of course, Bosco ate everyone. She had a ton of unhaired reads that we actually saw on Untucked. She destroyed everyone. There was no game. So the Maxi Challenge will be, Ru announces the Maxi Challenge and will be performing as a group for a retro hit. The girls will have to write lyrics and create a choreography and then perform everything not on the main stage, on set. They actually do it on set. So production lets the girl choose what they want to do. And, at the end of the day, who cares? Because they are going to judge them individually. There is really no point in manipulating the group. So they basically let them do whatever they want. Which is a decision that kind of sparkles some drama here and there. Because everybody is talking. Then at some point you see Lady British raising her hand and saying, stop everybody, let's go in order, one by one, and you tell me what you want to do. Of course, the first one talking is Daya Betty. She's like, let's start with me. I want bad boy. And after that, we have Daya Betty repeating 50 times that she wants bad boy. She's not going to settle for anything less. Other people are talking, other people are saying other things. Then she comes out of nowhere saying, I want bad boy. It's like, imagine you go to a fuel station to get a package of cigarettes. There is Daya Betty behind you saying that she still wants bad boy. That's how bad it was. So in the background, you hear Jasmine saying, "Well, why don't we rock paper scissors that?" And Daya Betty is like, she didn't even finish the sentence. Daya Betty's like, "No, no." So at this point, we are intercepted by a confessional from Jasmine, because Jasmine not only is the narrator of Daya Betty's Villain Edit, she is the narrator of the season. We finally nailed her down. So, and she confirms, Daya Betty is being a baby. She just wants what she wants, and she is sure to make everybody knows that she wants the Bad Boy song. So at this point, Angeria asks, "Is nobody willing to sacrifice?" And of course, Daya Betty in the background, "I am not. I am not." So we have Deja, thank God for Deja, coming out and saying, "Well, you know what? I can give it up. I can give it up. I can do the other one with George's and did I say George's? With Jorgina Cha Cha and Jasmine." So at this point, of course, we have a confessional of Daya Betty coming in and saying, "Well, Deja is doing some kumbaya, and she is taking the safe way out." What does she mean by safe way out? I have no idea. But she goes on, she's taking the safe way out. I hope her group ends up working well together. It's like passive aggressive much, but no, it's actually a joke. It's actually a joke. And the editors make sure that we see that she is joking, because they let her finish. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. She is not just the villain, she's our underdog villain. So, 1 second, I have a super chat. Jesse Vaccaro, thank you so much for $10. I'm a new viewer to Drag Race and your channel. I've been enjoying your content so much. You really help me understand how to read the edit and keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We try to do something different a little bit by reading the edit and possibly trying to contextualize things, and saying things like, "Oh my god, Daya Betty is so annoying," while also making sure that nobody treats her like shit in social media, because she's a character. She's the Daya Betty character. Nevertheless, in this scene, it's like a perfect example. Do you remember when I told you? It's very rare that the edit actually creates things out of nowhere. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. They really take things out of context to basically create a dynamic that doesn't exist. But most of the time, they take what is there and they exaggerate it. But they need something to be there in the first place. So this is just another example that Daya Betty is there. She has like this cutthroat approach to the competition. She doesn't give a shit about anything. She is literally me, 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 me. She has a huge ego. She has it. Nothing wrong with it, but she has it, and she has this self-centered attitude that it's like nails on a chalkboard, and the edit is making sure that we see all of that. God forbid that we miss anything about that, because from a different perspective, Daya Betty and Jasmine, this dynamic that they have between each other, they are basically holding the show. It's a Daya Jasmine show basically. So it's from a messy perspective. It's a good thing that we have Daya Betty in there. At least the show is entertaining from that point of view. But from a character point of view, it's just insufferable. The way they are portraying her, it's just insufferable. I'm sure that at some point there is a lot of her inside of this, but it's basically when I see Daya Betty on screen, I'm like, oh my god, not again. Give me a pause for a moment. Give me a pause. Where are we? Okay, so basically, oh shit. One moment, sorry. Oh fuck. I just bit my tongue like really badly. Oh good lord. Oh god, I hate when that happens. It starts to swollen, you know, and then you keep biting it. It's whatever. Let's have a little bit more of liquid energy. This is going to be a long night. I'm telling you, it's going to be a really long night. A little bit more of liquid energy. We're not saving it for later. I'm just, going to full on it because it's cold. It's really cold. Diabetica cursed your tongue. Maybe. Well, I was also defending her. I was just not calling her out. I was also defending her, like I always do. I put both of the points of view in there and then find a way to somehow bring them together and find a nice middle way in which both of the 2 points of view are validated. So, I was not just shitting on Daya. I am not production. I wasn't just shitting on Daya. So, what's the next scene? Oh, recording the vocals. So basically the girls decides their groups. Everybody is happy. We have, I think, a scene in which they start talking about hooking up in the street. I don't remember. I have like this vague impression that somebody started talking about cruising, which it's a very interesting topic, but I don't think they went into details, like explaining how to do it the proper way. Maybe we can do it later on, just for the educational value, of course. So we are back at recording vocals. So bring in the shady edit, because of all the girls, we only see, of all the groups, we only see two girls. We are missing a third. So for Angeria, Carrie, and Lady, we only see Angeria and Carrie. Angeria is doing good. Somehow Carrie is not doing good. And I'm like, well, wait a moment, but Carrie can actually sing. She has like she can hold a tune. She had a beautiful voice, and she was actually putting some personality into the song. She was doing something interesting with her voice. Apart from the fact that Michelle at some point went to her and said, "Well, you should make it simpler." It was like saying, "Don't try to stand out, Carrie. Just make it simpler. Make it simpler." Which it was all shady all on its own, but Carrie is portrayed in a negative way. We don't see Lady Camden, and you want to know why? Well, because later on, during the critiques, Carlson is going to tell us, of course, indirectly, what happened during her rehearsal. But, if you see the image, you know that it wasn't good. Then, Bosco, Diabetti, and Willow. We do not see Willow. I like to believe that she was good, but I have no information here to actually know what was going on with Willow. But Bosco and Diabetti are doing very well. Then we have Deja, Jorgina Cha Cha, and Jasmine. Now, we don't see Jasmine, but we saw Jasmine in the workroom, so we know that she is not good. She is like tone deaf. There's no going around that. She cannot sing. She doesn't only look like Alyssa Edwards, she also sounds like Alyssa Edwards. Deja is doing fairly well, and Georges, it's basically, it's a shit show. Georges is trying. I keep saying Georges. Jorgina is trying, but it's just terrible. It's just terrible. Doesn't matter how hard she tries, it's just terrible. So at some point, Michelle tells her, "Listen, Georges, you were born to do..." No, she doesn't say that. But she says, "Listen, Georges, why don't you do a spoken word kind of thing?" And I will add, well, because she was born to do drag, so of course she is allowed to do a spoken word. Jasmine? No. Jasmine, go fuck yourself. You were not born to do drag. You cannot do a spoken word. Oh, good lord. Good lord. The favoritism is far too much this episode. Christos, hey Gorge. Late to the stream, but let's see what the rigorous got this week. A ton of Born to Do drag. A ton of Born to Do drag. It's like a ton of it. So, after this vocal recording, however you want to call it, vocal rehearsal, well, after recording the vocals basically, we already have a good impression of which group is doing good and which group is doing bad. So basically, Bosco and Daya Betty are killing it. Everybody else basically go home, unless you're Angeria. Then we move on to choreo. And choreo is already a mixed message because Bosco's, Daya Betty, and Willow, they are doing fantastic. Then we have Angeria, Lady British, and Carrie, which is a so-and-so. It's half and half. Some are good, some are not that good. And then Jorgina, Jasmine, and Deja, who are apparently doing bad, despite the fact that you have 2 trained dancers in there. But the edit is telling you they are doing bad. They are absolutely doing bad. So we basically end this session with recording the vocals, the rehearsal, and we already know who is going to win. At least we know which group is going to win and which group is probably going to be in the bottom. Point is, as I said before, they will not judge them as group, and that is quite convenient because it allows them to throw out of the competition whoever they want to throw out, and for some reason give Daya Betty a win? I don't know. We're going to talk about it later on. Tiagi, Jorgina Cha Cha was so incredibly favored this episode, both with the spoken word, in Phoebe's voice, it was bullshit and very basic. Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that. Who said she was born to go home? Who said that? You won everything. I want to know, whoever you are, you won everything. She was born to go home. That's genius. Damien, £1.79. Thank you so much, Damien. Did you enjoy the background dancers? Not in the way that you mean. Not in the way. I like my men with a little bit of meat on their bones, if you know what I mean. So not really my type. They were very well coordinated, I can tell you that, because at some point they grabbed my attention and they were very well coordinated, because then I used them as a point of reference to see how well the girls were dancing. And then I thought, you know what, I will just not look. I get to enjoy whatever I'm watching a little bit more. I get to enjoy it more. Christos, the moment they said they will be judged solo, I know so shit was about to go down. Rigor Morris, girl. Of course. And I didn't even think about it. I arrived to the critiques thinking, yeah, sure, they're going to judge them as groups. You know, that's how naive I was. Well, it's not that I was naive, but at least the episode was entertaining, so I was completely sold. I was in complete suspension of disbelief, if you will. Actor, Wingeria Paris Hi Michaels winning, placing I for 6 of 7 episode is cunt. Absolutely. So, moving on. We are back in the workroom. It's a new day in the workroom, and we have a couple of mirror moments. We have one mirror moment for Lady British. This is her second mini mirror moment. I don't know if we should count it as one whole mirror moment at this point. I'm just going to call them 2 mini mirror moments, just so that everybody is on the same page. And then we have another mirror moment for Carrie. This is the 3rd mirror moment for Carrie, and by the end of the episode she will be eliminated. And you know, it's very rare that you see a queen going home without a mirror moment. I mean, unless you are Utica and you ask RuPaul to stand up for the camera, you are probably going to get at least 1 mirror moment. Sometimes some queens will get 2, but no queens, to my knowledge, has ever had 3 mirror moments and then went home, and we are not even with half of the queens out of the competition. This is something unique to Carrie. And at some point I start to get curious. Why did you need to give her 3 mirror moments? Could it be that maybe they wanted to be sure to get no backlash for sending her home? It's like, okay, we're going to send her home. We're going to overlook her professionally. But at least we're gonna put her full front emotionally so that you can connect to her. Because this really felt like a kind of excuse for saying to the fans, listen, I'm sorry that we're sending her home, but at least you get to have some emotional moments with her. You get to know a little bit more about her story, about her background, and you get to connect with her a little bit more. So by the time the third mirror moment came on, I was quite sure they were going to definitely go for the shock value and send her home. Because she was in the prediction, but she was in the prediction like a second thought. If we're going to go for shock value, maybe Carrie, because her storyline was not going anywhere. And they went full for shock value. But at least, she got one more mirror moment, which, I don't know, most people don't even realize it, but those are really the moments in which you establish a line of communication. Christos, honestly, when Carrie left, I thought we were at the end of the season. I was shocked to realize we're not even halfway through, and they got that budget this season with all these episodes. It's not really a matter of budget, it's about an episode order. VH1 ordered, I think, 3 seasons after season 12, and so it's probably going to be all 3 seasons, 16 episodes. So this season is probably be 16 episodes, and the season after it's going to be 16 episodes. I still need to check that reference because I'm going by memory. But this is the number of episodes that I'm expecting for this season. Sashiko, I feel like Georgios is like Plastic Tiara, but there isn't Raja to spill out the riggery. Well, I don't know about that. I basically erased all of my memories for season 11, but I think I actually liked Plastic Tiara. I don't really, no, it's not that I dislike Georgios. I don't enjoy him. I don't enjoy him on the screen. He's just so green. He can lip sync, and that's it. There is no singing, there is no acting, there is no comedy. It's just really, really green. He's so young. So whatever he's serving to me, I am not enjoying it. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. So something else happens during this moment in the workroom, because it's time for another chapter in the Daya versus Jasmine storyline. And this thing has been spanning like 4 episodes. And thank God for it, because it's basically everything that we have going on. So at some point, Daya asks Jasmine, hey Jasmine, where did your read for me comes from? Because Jasmine read her that she is two-faced. And I was like, Jasmine, she's 3-faced. What are you saying? So basically she comes also through a confessional, because we need to have the message very clear, saying, what did I do to Jasmine? I want to know, what did I do to her? And at that moment I was thinking, well, could it be that maybe it's the fact that you have been shitting on Jasmine for the past 4 episodes, that you have been ridiculing Jasmine for complaining about being safe, while Daya was going through the mental gymnastic. She was like, I'm not complaining that I'm safe. I am complaining that I don't get to see the judges. Why it's important that you see the judges, so that they can give you feedback and you can be high instead of just safe. So, there is a lot of mental gymnastic in there. I don't know how aware she is of all of this, but there is a ton of mental gymnastic. So, Jasmine responds, and she says, well, I heard that you said that I was wearing a piece of fabric, and you were not gagging on it. Of course, the edit gives us a replay of Untucked, in case you forgot, because remember, she's our underdog villain. So if Jasmine is saying something against the underdog villain, we need to confirm what Jasmine is saying. So we get a replay of that untacked moment. And then Daya Betty replies, yes, I said that, she says. I said that, but I addressed it to George's. Can you imagine that? It's like you talk shit about someone and then you tell it to your dog. You know, I addressed it with my pet while you were not here. Oh my god. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Daya. I don't know. Somehow I think that I would really enjoy to get high with Daya Betty. For some reason, I don't know. I have this feeling that she would be a ton of fun to be wasted around. Like, wasted. Just for the things that she might say. So, Jasmine replies. And she said, well, yes, you said it to Georges, but you didn't say it to me. You know, it was about her. So at this point, we see the passive-aggressive side of Daya Betty, and it's huge. It's huge. When she wants to be passive-aggressive, girl, there's no holding back. So she goes like, well, you were busy. You were busy lip-syncing for your life, so I didn't want to bother you. Oh, good lord. Good lord. This is so... I don't know. In a way, it's really fucked up. In a way, I was also living. It's like the whole scene was so camp, like top to bottom. And then she continues, Jasmine, I wasn't shading your body. It was your outfit that was bad. Oh, good lord. And then we have, to tie it all together, we have a nice confessional from Jasmine saying, well, Daya Betty is pissed because she hasn't won anything, and she still hasn't apologized. It's like Jasmine wants her apology, and she's right, I mean, you're allowed to talk some good shit, but if someone, you know, reacts to that, which is normal, but then you are pissed, well, the only way to solve the situation is that you apologize so the other person can say, well, you know what, maybe you might be two-faced, but you have a heart behind it, you know, and somehow you find each other's in a middle way. But you have to... Shit. My electronic cigarette fell. But you have to give something up. You have to give a little bit of something. And Daya is not willing to concede anything, like anything at all. You know, she's that kind of person that's like, well, apologizing? What are you talking about? I mean, after all, why apologize when you can bend the narrative? She can do that very well. So in a way, maybe I do even understand it. I don't know. This whole scene was pure camp. What I want you to understand is that it was not really real. Because if you track Daya Betty's makeup, there is so much cut and paste in there that you won't believe it. Because her makeup goes backwards and forwards in time. So I don't know if at some point they made up to each other's, there was something else. What I can tell you is that chronologically it made no sense. Because there was like a temporal bubble around Daya Betty. Her makeup keeps going backwards and forwards in time. It's amazing. When I release the episode, I will put all of the images in there and show you exactly how much they manipulated this whole thing to make it look like it was messy as fuck. Now, before we go to the challenge, let me go through the comments because I missed a couple of those. What do we have? Sasha, all I wanted was another Raven moment, but Daya shitting on Jasmine? We'll never have another Raven moment. But Daya is getting really close. Spicy Icy, I cannot cope with the fact that the queens have to talk about emotional trauma and drama with unfinished makeup anymore. This looks so crazy. Listen, in a way, it's a perfect situation to do that. What fucks with my mind is when I saw Rosé at a viewing party saying that she producers from the other side of the mirror actually scream at them like, talk about your dead mother, talk about your dead father. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm trying to do my makeup. Why do I need to start talking about my dead family? So, yeah, it would be nice if it was natural. The problem is that natural conversation can occur at any moment. Maybe it's during rehearsal, maybe it's during writing of the lyrics, and this is a show. So the emotional moments come in front of the mirror and come when rehearsal is done and before the main stage. That's when they have to do it. So what can you do? It's still a show. They have to make a show at the end of the day. Actor Daya in the bottom left pick seems more straight than Maddie Morphosis. She does. She does. She has what I like to call shy blowjob expression. Joey, not to psychoanalyze her, but I think Daya needs the thing she wants too much. She needs the things that she wants a little bit too much. Okay, Georgina to not be safe, etc. She needs to learn how to attract instead of chase. Well, she's still fairly young. I think she's like 25. Well, it's not that young actually. But that's something that you start to learn in your, late 20s. Joey, it's easier said than done. It is. It is. Sasha, Daya really wanted an apology explanation for her own passive aggressiveness. Yes, and you know what? In a way, I don't really understand if she is playing or if she's really like that. Because I don't know her outside of the race. And this is not things that you can easily tell by following someone for a couple of months on social media. You need like a history, because these are things that it's not very easy to spot them. So you need like a huge span of time. I don't know if she's playing or she's really like that. I have no idea. What I can tell you is that I have very ambivalent feelings toward Diabetes, because one moment I am extremely entertained and the other moment I'm like, oh my god, you are so annoying. You are just so annoying. So I don't know about that. Let's move on to the challenge. How do we judge this? How do we... I don't know. Not judge, it's not... Yeah, I guess that's the best word that I'm going to find. Yeah. Well, how do we judge this? Well, from an entertaining perspective, I didn't get much from it. It was kind of boring. I didn't really get the point. I don't know who these legendary girl groups are, so maybe that's on me because all the references are lost. But all in all, it was, well, it was nothing special. Now, how do we actually judge the performance itself? Well, that for me, it's going to be incredibly difficult because the singing is auto-tuned. So we have to rely on whatever the edit actually let us see during the rehearsal. Then the dancing, we have no idea how much they prepared, how much did they fuck it up, because this was filmed twice. As per every challenge on Drag Race, this was filmed twice. So I have no idea. Maybe a lot of people fucked up and we didn't get to see it, or maybe one queen had one slip up and it was full front just because she had to be in the bottom or not winning. It's like impossible for me to judge this challenge. What I can tell you is that I wasn't living for it. But if I take into account the lyrics, if I take into account what we saw in the rehearsal, I think that Bosco, Diabetes, and Willow had the best lyrics overall because they had fun with it. It was kind of fucked up. It was campy. It was stupid, and it's RuPaul's Drag Race. Always go for the parody if you can. I don't get this thing that, things have to be serious. No, nothing has to be serious. These are men in a wig. Sometimes the occasional woman in a wig, but it's drag, it's camp. Make it funny, make it fucked up. This is what we like. So they are the ones that I enjoyed the most. If we take also the runway into account, for me, Bosco was the winner. They could even have gotten a triple win as a group. I wouldn't have complained. Everybody else kind of faded in the background. Christos, no need to judge this challenge. That just crown the queen, almighty Angeria. Owen, I feel like the best team should have all won, not just Bitchy Betty. I agree. If it was up to me, I would have judged them as group. Group challenges always should be judged as groups because a lot of what you do depends on the people you are doing it with. So you cannot really judge individually. You are losing a lot of it. You're losing a lot of it. For example, let's assume that you have one person that cannot really dance. So what the group will usually do is trying to harmonize everyone's performance in order so that nobody looks like shit by comparison. So this is group influence. And when you have situations like this, it's only fair that you judge them as groups, not as single people. I don't know. But it's what they do. At the end of the day, Carrie had to go home, so of course they had to judge them individually. So let's move on to the runway so that I can bestow to you my incredible fashion sense and fashion knowledge. Don't forget that. So Willow Pill. For me, she was her outfit was fucked up on a ton of different levels. I cannot describe them. I don't think YouTube is going to like it. And but I understand her sense of humor, and I totally get that. I was living for it. The audacity of that outfit, the audacity, only for Willow. Only Willow could get away with something like that. Only Willow. I loved it. I loved it. What I didn't really like is that the atomic wedgie, we already saw it last runway, so there was a little bit of a redundancy in there. Daya Betty, in her best interpretation of wannabe punk rock aesthetic. It looks like she Googled punk rock for like 5 minutes on Google image search, and then whatever came out, she presented it on the runway. For me, that was not punk rock at all. That was not punk rock. At best, it was glam rock, which is something different. It's something different, but it was not punk rock at all. It was okay. It was okay. Nothing to gag on, but it was okay. And to me, for once, she looked more like herself, not like Crystal. This is, when we were talking about Diabetes aesthetic, this is closer to her, for me. I also heard people saying she looked, this is the first time she really looked like Crystal, so at this point, I don't know. I don't know. Bosco. Bosco was gorgeous. Bosco was gorgeous. She had her ass out and still managed to look classy. In a way, it was really fucked up, but I loved it. I loved it. For me, she was the best on that runway. Deja, this was my favorite look for Deja. I know that a lot of people were not living for it, but I was. I love this anime fantasy kind of dress. It works for me. I was a huge Erica Clash fan back on Dragula, so I completely get it. I am completely sold. And the details are on point. She probably made that because if you zoom closely, you can see that everything is done to perfection. I liked her outfit. I really liked it. Enough to have her place high, I wouldn't go that far. But she was definitely wearing one of the best outfits on the runway. Then Jorgina Cha Cha, relying on that body again, because of course she would. Of course she would. She was the worst on that runway. She is the definition of stop relying on that body, and nobody is reading her for it, because of course she was born to do drag. So she is basically wearing nothing. What is she wearing? Panties and a bra. That's the outfit. Worst on the runway. Worst on the runway, without any doubt. Jasmine. Jasmine is classy, yes. Jasmine is classy. I love the outfit. It fits perfectly. What I didn't like about her runway was the makeup. She always has this pink highlight on her cheeks that always look so strong. It's too much. I don't know if she's painting for the back of the room, but on set, from the camera, it looks too much. She needs to go a little bit lighter. This is something that she has been doing all of the time, and it looks like, I don't know, maybe it's me. I'm not dismissing that possibility. Maybe it's me. But usually when queens paint like that, the judges give them feedback. They say, listen, you are painting for the camera. You're not painting for the back of the stage. You need to go lighter. Do you remember? We heard the judges saying something like that already. So, I don't know. I didn't. I'm starting to get sensitive to that kind of makeup. But the outfit I loved. Then Angeria. Angeria was totally committed to the runway. I liked the outfit. She told a story during her walk on the runway, but it looks like the outfit was like a second thought. You know, she had this thing lying somewhere and thought, oh, okay, what's the runway theme? Art on? Perfect. I'll slap a heart on the chest and call it a day. That's what I didn't like about her outfit. It didn't really... It didn't look like it was made to fit the topic, if you know what I mean. Then Carrie. Loved the idea, didn't like the execution. I didn't like it because it looks like a net, okay? This is supposed to be veins, and veins don't have such a square, regular pattern. They follow a more kind of fractal distribution. So it really looks like a fishnet, a big red fishnet. So I love the idea behind it. I think it's genius. The execution, it kind of overshadowed the idea, because I think that was the best idea on the runway. The problem is it was not executed properly. If I didn't know, I wouldn't have known that she was supposed to represent veins. And finally, Lady British. Not really excited about that. The heart and the harrow are way too big. They are distracting from everything else. And the outfit is not bad. The makeup is not bad. The wig is not bad. She looks good. The problem is she has these huge things that distracts from everything else. I think the judges said something like that. Which is strange for once that we agreed, but basically this huge red heart is everything I could look at when she was on that runway. So, chat, what do you think, chat? Tiagi, girl, we love you, but you should really get a guest to critique the runway. I know. Damien, she's painting for the donut shop across the street. Poor Jasmine, come on. Come on. Lady looks absolutely cool, but a little oversized. Yeah, she looks good. She doesn't look bad. It's just that this fucking huge heart, it's like, I want to see your breastplate, but I cannot see it because you have this huge heart in there. Oh, good God. Good God. Don't worry. Everybody loves my critiques of the runway. Because by comparison, their self-esteem goes like 3 notches up. That's why they watch it. Damien, 179, thank you. Why did no one wear a Queen of Hearts tribute? I have no idea. I don't even know if this is actually the runway theme that they were given, because sometimes what they do is that they give like a very generic kind of runway, and then they refine the subject of the runway specifically for the show, sometimes in order to throw other people under the bus and make it look as if they missed the mark for the runway. It's something that we saw before. I think it was spilled during one of the Roscoe's viewing party for All Stars, that somebody said, well, I received this subject for the runway, which was different from the one that was said on the show. So you never know. It would have been a good concept. Yes, I agree with that. Thaliel, who was the winner of this week for you? Bosco, absolutely. Bosco without any doubt. Without any doubt. Let me have some liquid energy. We go to the critiques. Bitch is always the Roscoe's viewing party. Yes, they are the best thing ever. They are the best thing ever because they spill a ton of tea. Like a ton of tea. Like, for example, during the last viewing party, I think it was Daya, she spilled that all of the outfits, the wigs, and everything else that was used in the challenge, the queens didn't choose it. They didn't even prepare it. It was brought in by production. It was brought in by production. So I don't think I think Daya was the only one who received a positive critique for what she was wearing during the challenge. And I was like, how can you say that? This is stuff that you gave her. But I wasn't complaining. I wasn't complaining because they are sleeping on Daya so much. I was waiting for her to get a little bit of a moment at some point, but looks like it's never going to happen. Being like this, being high for this episode is the best that she's ever going to get. New boy, I can't believe World of Wonder lets the viewing parties get posted on YouTube. I think it's good for branding. Because they will decide what they can spill and what they cannot spill. So I think they all had a coaching with all of the queens saying, you can talk about these things, you cannot talk about these other things. Because, when you have the Roscoe's viewing party and you have the tea and you have, oh my God, this thing happened, a lot of people talk about it. People make videos about it. People tweet about it. So it helps the franchise. It helps spreading the words. People talk about it more. So it's a good thing in a way, because there are things that you can spill that really don't really hurt anyone. And then there are things that you cannot absolutely spill. And those things you cannot say. Groover, I thought most people knew that production makes outfits for the challenge, like acting and some girl groups. Not really, because depending on the challenge, sometimes the queens can bring and wear whatever they want. It depends on the challenge. So when I watch it, I don't think automatically, oh yes, production did that. But for this challenge, they were actually all wearing matching outfits. So either they took a trip to, to the how is it called? Dressing shop, outside, or they prepared the outfits already. Daniel Harris, did you see the tea about Jimbo's elimination and her and Monique's fight in UK versus the World Viewing Party? No, I didn't see that. Okay. Let's move on to the critiques.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. Bullshit.
That's a joke.
Every fucking time.
I was being realistic.
Realistic with bullshit. Girl, bullshit. You are a fucking liar.
So, this was a group challenge, but they are judged as individuals, which is very convenient. Otherwise, you already know that Bosco, Willow, and Daya probably would have won as a group, maybe a 3-way win. I wouldn't have complained about that. And in the bottom, we would have had Angeria, Camden, and Carrie. A whole group in the bottom. Maybe saving Angeria just low because she's in the bottom group. But you know that it would have been Carrie versus Camden if they wanted to send Carrie home. There was no other possible way. But you cannot have Lady British in the bottom already. And you cannot put Angeria low. God forbid that. So I have mixed feelings about this judging as groups. Nevertheless, it would have been the honest way to do it. It would have been the honest way to do it. Okay, so let's begin. JP Medina, when my grandma says she accepts my sexuality, bullshit, you're a fucking liar. Lovish, you never complain about three-way. Oh my god. I am a two-way man. I have to admit to that. But in my fantasy, I never complain about three ways. Ever. Okay, let's start with Daya. Michelle, you nailed it. And you were in character the entire time. And I might add, especially in the workroom. She stood out from her group, which is a good thing, unless you are electroshock and down under. In that case, it's a bad thing because you're not being a team player. Then Carlson loves the look. It's fun. It's club kid couture. And I think this is a nice way to tell her that is not punk rock. You see how nice is Carlson? It will not come to you and tell you this is not punk rock. It will come to you and tell you, well, this is club kid couture. And this is one of the reasons why I love Carlson. He is just so nice. It's undeniable. Alex says, it doesn't look crafty. Seriously, he says, it doesn't look crafty. Because you know that you have reached the bottom of the barrel. Once, in order to compliment something, you tell them what it is not. I made myself clear. It's like saying, oh, hey, I love your makeup. You don't look busted. So it doesn't look crafty. Diabetes doesn't look crafty. Then we get a little bit of push to her narrative because Michelle says, I am so excited to see the trajectory that you're on. Because unlike Alicia Keys in the premiere, Michelle looks like she didn't read Diabetes Storylines memo. So she's excited for her trajectory. And I am excited too. Our villain underdog. And then RuPaul, Diabetes has come to play. And I might add, she has come to play the production game. Moving on to Deja. Michelle, you can sing. Then after that, everyone praises her outfit, which feels correct. I completely agree with everything. Finally, Deja gets some earned praise because it was time. And especially since she's probably going home next episode, it's time that we give her some recognition. So thanks the judges for that. Moving on to Jasmine. Carlson, proving he's the best judge ever. He says, singing is not your forte, but you were selling it most of the time with joy and enthusiasm. However, there were times when we could see that you were thinking. And to me, this is a very good critique because he compliments what works. It's not like he's ignoring it. He sees the effort, he compliments her for that, and then also gives feedback on what doesn't work. And that's exactly how everybody should judge the queens. Recognize the talent and then give feedback. What's the problem with that? You don't have to absolutely make someone look like shit, overlooking everything good that they do. So, of course, out of all of them, Carlson is the one to do it. I told you there's a reason Carlson is the best judge in there. Now you know why. Then we move on to Michelle. Michelle tries to repeat what Carlson said. Seriously. She tries to give the same critiques, but of course she ends up looking like a complete bitch. Because, and I quote, evil cannot create anything new, only corrupt and ruin what good forces have invented or made. So, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So, at this point, Jasmine tries to open up. She tries to explain her struggles, her difficulties, and RuPaul tries to shut her up. So, Jasmine interrupts RuPaul in order to take her moments. She says she's sorry, by the way. She says she's sorry. But she basically cut off RuPaul And she has massive balls. She has massive balls. I love Jasmine for that. I absolutely love Jasmine for that. But of course, once she is done, RuPaul is not having it. She is like, no, I'm not giving you any support. I'm not giving you any nice words. I'm not complimenting you for opening up and showing vulnerabilities and showing all those peaks and valley, and that's where the money is, and everything else that she said to any other girl who was supposed to be the production choice. It's Jasmine. So to Jasmine, the only thing that RuPaul says is, you are not as good as others. Because, of course, fuck your emotion, Jasmine. You don't matter. You don't matter. Oh, good lord. Good lord. Let me go to the chat before we go to Angeria, Carrie, and Lady, because I lost some comments in there and I'm curious to see. Nicholas, what if we make Daya's team the winning team and the other two teams judged individually? Well, it's a little bit fucked up. You know, you either judge everyone individually or none. Lavish, it's not going to be I love your makeup. It doesn't look like Crystal Method. Oh my god. Oh my god. Georgina is my full name, and every time you say Jorgina Cha Cha, I think I'm in trouble. Because I would only be called my full name if I've been naughty as a child. Well, Georgina is a nice name. I like it. JP, next they will critique queens for having talent and doing great in the competition. Oh, wait. They already do that. Oh, good lord. Annie B, I prefer the UK style group wins in girl groups. It allows more queens to be contenders, as it gives out more wins. But they do it with fewer queens, so I guess I understand. Well, I think it would have worked very well in here. Sen, back from work. Welcome back, Sen. Lovish, you sure know that Jasmine got big balls after she got untucked during the lip sync. Oh, shit. She has. She has. Damien, nobody knows what I'm talking about, but I say, looks like our invitation got lost in the mail, in Willow's voice constantly. Yeah, I don't think I know. I don't think I know what you mean by that. I lost that. Does that come through the microphone? No, it's not. Okay. There is Potty eating some wood. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Angeria. Moving on to Angeria. Alec, you nailed it. I love the color block outfit. Ru, you sold it. You understood what this is about. Carlson, I love the hair. And that's it. This is all we get for Angeria. Because at this point, once Bosco and Willow are safe, Angeria here is the best candidate for a win. She is the best candidate for a win. All considered, she is the best one that it's left in there. But we cannot give her a win. Because you also have to understand. One thing. If we would recognize Angeria's talent, she would basically win every episode. Like, how many episodes did we have right now? She was in 7 episodes out of 8. She could have probably won 5 out of 7 already. So I don't think they're necessarily sleeping on Angeria. It's also a matter of, well, we need to let the viewer doubt for a moment that she might not be crowned, you know. There are other contenders in there, but, you know, between you and me, we basically know that Angeria will probably win the whole thing. Damien, Willow said it during the Daytona Wind Challenge. Oh my god, I removed that. I completely removed that. Oh, okay. Okay, now I know what you mean. Thalia, do you think that Angeria has had fair placements? Generally, yes. On average, yes. There are times in which she was high, but she was just safe for me, and there were times in which she was high and she should have won for me. So on average, I would say yes, but not exactly the right placements, because I would have gave her one more win at least. At least. Moving on to Carrie. Michelle, you have issues with the vocals. And I'm like, really? Out of all of the people that you have seen in there, you go to Carrie having issues with the vocals? Why? She has a beautiful voice. She can hold a note. What was your issue? Oh, that she was actually doing something creative in there. That was the issue. She needs to go home, so she's not allowed to do anything creative. And that is recalled by Michelle as having issues with the vocals. How nice is that? Then she tells her that her performance was too churchy. I have no idea what she means. And she cannot stand her pantyhose. I guess you have to find something that doesn't work in the outfits. I don't know. This net looked like a net. I think that would have been a fair critique that would have worked very well. I don't know why they didn't use it. I guess production memo said what it said. Then we move on to RuPaul. You could have had more fun with the lyrics. So basically everybody else except Bosco, Daya, Betty, and Willow could have had more fun with the lyrics. Why, out of the 5 girls that you have in there, you just read Carrie for that? They didn't have fun with their lyrics. There were boring lyrics. There was no comedy in there, no parody in there. Why do we... Oh, yes, I get it. Because Carrie has to be in the bottom. That's why we move this critique and tell her, well, you could have had more fun with the lyrics. Okay, I see what you're doing. Then Carlson, thank God. The necklace and the gloves didn't fit the concept, which is a fair critique. Alec, your body outshined you. And I'm kind of paraphrasing here because he doesn't use exactly these words. And then he complains that she was leaning forward too much. I don't know what he means because we had some cutaways from the performance and I didn't see Carrie leaning too much. What kind of fucked up critique is that? You were leaning too much? I don't know. Which take was it? Was it the first take from the challenge? The second? We don't know. Moving on to Lady. Michelle, it's costumey. Fuck off, Michelle. Then Alec. I love costumes, it looks great. I completely agree. Carlson, your voice sounded nice in the recording. And pay attention to this because we didn't see Lady record her lyrics. So the fact that Carlson is now telling her, you sound nice in the recording, it means that she sounded like shit during the rehearsal. So, of course, it's Carlson, so he has a great way to say that she basically fucked up the singing. Because if you didn't stop to think about it, you didn't even realize what he was doing there. But he was basically telling us, well, you fucked up the recording, but in the end, it kind of sounded good. And then he says that she didn't stand out. Michelle, your softness and shyness will affect you in the competition. And I'm like, shyness? Like Lady Camden, shyness. She's basically talking the entire time. All the time. She's always there putting more peaks and valleys in her character, in other people's character. That's all she's doing. She never shuts the fuck up. She always talks. She doesn't scream, but she always talks. And Michelle is like, well, you are soft and shy, Lady Camden. It's like she's reading from the production memo, you know? Lady Camden, character development. The soft and shy queens who realize she has a fire for the competition. That's the storyline, you know? And Michelle, it's going on that tangent. She has no idea. She doesn't care what's happening on the screen. She doesn't care. Like, you are soft, Camden, and you're shy, but this will affect you. So for me, all that this was I'll give you the translation. It's easier. Camden, you're a production puppet. You didn't throw gasoline on the fire of Daya and Jasmine's fight. So mind you, do your job or you will be out. This is how it sounded to me. Like, if you read in between the lines, this is how it sounded to me. Because never forget premiere number 2. Never forget what happened with her and Daya Betty. Never forget that she looks like, both of them look like, they do exactly what production tells them to do. So this, to me, looked like Michelle kind of flexing a little bit. So, there's that. And then finally, RuPaul. Last time you did amazing. Whatever you were doing, wink wink, apply it to everything. Make of that what you will. So, chat, what do you think? What do you think? Damien, you blocked the traumatic experience from your memory. I did. Well, it was more of a boring episode. Lovish, I agree that it was churchy, but just for one moment. Otherwise, I loved the performance, and yeah, that outfit was not it. Owen, they are favoriting Georges to hide the mistreatment of others. And better Hispanic queens. Cough, cough, Alyssa and... Oh my god, don't get me thinking about that. Alyssa went home and we have Jorgina Cha Cha in there. Serving body all of the time. Beautiful body, yes. She looks fantastic. She lip syncs. She's entertaining when she lip syncs. But... Honeybee carries their sacrificial lamb whenever Georges is in trouble. Oh my god. No, I don't even want to think about that. I just want to think that they wanted her out. JP Medina, what do you need to have a good edit these days? Being a coffee enema dealer, this week's critiques annoyed me more than usual for some reason. Well, because there was more bullshit than usual. It's basically a challenge where 60% of the queens could have easily gone home, but instead they basically chose to sabotage Carrie and send her home. Now, at this point in the competition, I thought Deja would have been the one to go home because she's not serving much at all. Yeah, she's a sweet queen, of course, and I'm happy that she got this opportunity, but at this point I was expecting her to go home. I don't know what she's doing there. I wanted Carrie to stay, and I'm pissed about it. I'm not going to lie about it. Could you repeat this to people here? Whoever, don't we have moderators in here? Could you please, who is it? Give me the name. I'm going to shadow ban it. Because there is like a pinned comment in there, so I'm not going to take any patience with it. So, Belsky, please, there is like a right click, like hide user. Feel free to use it. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. End of the cryptiques. So, Daya Betty wins. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So, Daya Betty wins. And I don't know how to feel about this win. Because, in a way, it feels like maybe they are trying to push her ego a little bit over the edge. You know? Give her a win, make her feel confident, so that next episode, she will become a complete bitch. She will become the villain that she is supposed to be. Or maybe this is just the next step in her redemption arc, because now that she has a win, she finally comes down, she finally emerge from whatever she was going through. So it could go either way. But either way it goes, Daya Betty is here to stay. At this point, there is no way she's going home next episode. She is basically the storyline. She is the storyline at this point. So Angeria and Deja are safe, Candem is low, and Jasmine and Carrie are in the bottom. Conveniently. Because, of course, it makes more sense to have two trans women lip-syncing against each other, especially if one looked up to the other, especially if they are very close. So it makes more sense to have Jasmine against Carrie than Georges, for example, which should have been in the bottom. Georges should have definitely been in the bottom. But from a narrative perspective, it has more of an impact if you put Jasmine in there. And of course, Georges is the young and talented. Keep saying Georges. So of course he was not going to be in the bottom. What else? Well, for me, based on the runway, based on the lyrics, based on whatever singing that I was able to see during the rehearsal, if they were judged in group, Bosco, Daya Betty, and Willow should have been the winners. If they had to choose one amongst them, Bosco was hands down the winner for me. Not only she has the best rehearsal, she also had the best runway out of the three. And the bottom two, for me, should have been Georges, Jasmine, and Deja, unfortunately, with Georges versus Jasmine, which at this point you have two young and talented in there. You keep telling me that one is better than the other. You keep entangling the other in lots of drama throughout the whole season. So at some point it's going to happen. We spotted it since the very beginning. So it was a perfect occasion for having the Georges versus Jasmine lip sync. And then Deja low. If they were not judged in groups, Bosco would still have been the winner for me, but in the bottom two, I would have put Georges and Lady Candem, with Carrie and Jasmine probably low. Either way, Carrie for me didn't belong in the bottom two to begin with. Like at all. Moving on to the lip sync. Well, how was this lip sync? The editing was fair. It was one of the most fair lip sync that I saw this season, because I could actually see both of the queens. You didn't have Jasmine. Jasmine was going to be the winner. Everybody knew that. But you don't have her constantly in your face. We actually see Carrie. We see Carrie doing things. We see both of them on the stage. It was normal. For once, we have, well, Drag Race, from the point of view of Drag Race, of course. But it was a normal editing. It was a fair editing. So it's still not like a fixed camera that I can see both girls the entire time. That is what I would like. Or a split screen, for example. But this is the best editing that we have had so far during a lip sync, because we had some really fucked up editing until now. And this was not bad. Now, the song, I would have preferred if they used the original song. I don't know, maybe because I know the original song more than the remixed version, so I am more attached to it, but I also would have liked to see that style of lip sync, less dancey, more emotional. Maybe they were afraid that Carrie could upstage Jasmine, or maybe the original song was too expensive. Either way, that's what we got. We got a remix. And I appreciated that Jasmine stayed true to her word. You remember when she criticized queens for taking off her shoes? Sorry, she criticized queens for taking off their shoes. Because at some point she goes into a high kick and her shoes disappears. She throws her shoes away. No, her shoe slips from her foot. And she lip syncs with one shoe. Because God forbid that you take both of your shoes off. If one falls off, that is fine. Then you keep lip syncing with one shoe on. And she did that. I couldn't believe it. That was pure camp. That was pure camp. So by the end of this, Carrie is told to sashay away. She opens her bar and pwah, 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 pwah. It's just chocolate. Because of course it's just chocolate. We are in the middle of the season and the chocolate bar thing will probably not come on for another quarter of a season. Because that's what it's designed to be. So, let's go on to the chat. I'll read a couple of comments, then we take a little bit of a pause, and we move on to the speculations. Damon, do you think Blame It on the Edit, the cast version, will happen at the top 4? Oh my god, I hope not. I hope not. They will not do Blame It on the Edit. They cannot do that. Can you imagine the backlash if they do shit like that on the show? I mean, already outside of the show, RuPaul got a ton of backlash for it. And rightfully so. JP, always remember the villain pizza repeat wheel. Nicholas, who's Georges? You're mispronouncing Jorgina Cha Cha. Yeah, sometimes I do that. Takes a moment. I'm not, that young and responsive anymore. So, of course, I'm going to make some mistakes along the way. Tyagi, they're sleeping so hard on Bosco. She has been really killing it for the last, 3 weeks? I don't know about the last 3 weeks, but the last 2 weeks for sure. For sure. Lovish, they get songs prior to filming, so song was original this one and not the original. Yeah, but when they decided the songs, I would have liked if they picked the original. Like when they were sitting in the, in the producer's room and be like, okay, which songs do we pick for the lip sync? What do we add to the list? I would have preferred that. JP, you need to update the New Testament Bible of lip syncs. The shoe thingy is necessary to add. Unfortunately, you cannot edit videos once they're published. And I don't know why YouTube does it. Probably because it's a matter of counting views. It's a matter... You cannot edit videos. What you can do is to cut parts out of the video. That is the best that you can do. If you want to modify anything, you will need to re-upload it. Okay, let's take a 5 minutes pause. Go to the toilet, get something to eat, go smoke a cigarette. I'm going to vape a little bit, and I'll see you back in 5 minutes. And we're back. With a little bit of lime water. It's becoming the official drink of the channel. Fantasia, look at you finishing the live stream in record time for the past 2 years. 1 hour and 30 minutes. We still have the speculations. So, should we go to the speculations? So let's vape a little bit. Okay, so for our top 4, I would go as usual with Angeria and Willow. What makes me worry about Willow is that there are a ton of times in which she could have either won, she could have either been high, instead she was just high or just safe. Now, I don't think they have the audacity to go as far as to not have Willow in the top 4, but the representation spot is one, and we also have Daya on the other side, and they are going a lot of attention to Daya. She has almost more storyline than Willow at this point, so there is a lot going on in there. I don't know if they're really going to go for it, but we need to start to keep an eye for that. Because right before this episode came along, I was just dismissing Daya as, yes, she has this nice edit just to occupy a little bit of time. But this win over Willow, no. Let's keep an eye on that, see what's going on. Jorgina Cha Cha, our young and talented. She is constantly pushed no matter what. For me, she is the young and talented. She is at this point more sure than Willow in the top 4 for me. And then for our trans representation spot, and this is the interesting part, because with Carrie out of the picture, we only have 2 openly trans women in there. We have Bosco and Jasmine. Problem is, Jasmine is the narrator, and usually the narrator never gets to the top 4. Now, never say never. I'm still wishing that maybe along the way, Jasmine will still be the young and talented. You never know. And also, they switched things around a lot. The old categories don't really work anymore. But as a narrator, she has less of a chance over Bosco, for example, for that representation spot, if they even have a representation spot. Now, for everybody else, Daya is our villain underdog. It looks like they cannot really decide what they want to do with her. It's like they kind of they're making it along the way. They're going episode by episode. I don't know. In a way, it feels like the producers. I know there is many producers in there. Everybody is producing different episodes, and then you have the high-ranking producers kind of supervising everything else. But it's kind of a schizophrenic editing for Daya. She's a villain one time, then she has a redeemed villain, then she's a villain again, then she's going to be a redeemed villain again. It looks like they cannot fucking make up their mind with it. Nevertheless, she has a storyline. There is very little doubt about it, and she is not going anywhere. Now, Deja has no storyline whatsoever. I don't understand what she's still doing in the competition. I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something. But for me, she should have gone home this episode. I'm not saying it out of spite or anything. I like her. It's just an objective thing. There is nothing going on in there. Lady British, she is our second production puppet. It looks like there might be something going on, maybe, if she does what she's told. Tune in next episode to find out. Now, for the elimination, who is going to go home? Let's count the mirror moments as usual, because Willow has 2 mirror moments. Then we have Georges and Jasmine with 1 mirror moment, and Lady British with 2 mini mirror moments. So at this point, out of the 4 of them, Willow and Georges are absolutely out of the question. So for me, the best candidate for going home are Jasmine, Lady British, and Deja, with Deja being the most likely to go home, even though she didn't have any mirror moments yet. But out of all of them, she is the one with 0 storyline, like 0 storyline. At least Lady British, you could say she has the storyline of coming out of her shell. Yes, I know, it's a shitty storyline, but it's better than nothing. Deja has nothing going on in there. Like, nothing. Nothing. So, I don't know. For me, she is the most likely to go home out of all of them. Then Lady British, and then Jasmine, but only if she's done with Daya's storyline, because there is a lot going on in there, and it looks like it's nowhere near finished yet. So most likely, Deja and Lady. Shock value, Jasmine. Now, now that we are done with that, let's move on to our Kiki time. Let's start the mousy cam. And let's go back to some of the comments. Where is the mousy cam? Let's see. Mousy cam not working? What's going on? Oh, there we go. They are sleeping. The little bitches are sleeping. Ryan, at this point is Jasmine's drag race. I completely agree. Jasmine's and Diabetes drag race. They are basically all of the edit. It's basically them. Oh, good lord, good lord. Oh, Transfender Aye, super chat for $1.99. Please read this aloud. I did. I did. I don't know. Does it have a special meaning like Transfender Aye? I don't know. But thanks for the support. I do appreciate that. Mousy, Wilma and Spot are getting their much deserved camera time. You know, they're like, they were really active like 20 minutes ago. At some point I said, can you hear this through the microphone? Because there was, I think, Spot, this is what she does. She was eating the housey. I could hear her crunching on wood. So you know what? Let's spread a little bit of bedding. Maybe they will come out and show themselves for the camera. Let's see. Let's see if they come out. They are completely healed. They are completely healed. both physically and emotionally. They've been together for a week. They are completely fine. And thank God. Thank God. Nobody would have bet that. And they will be reunited next week. The end of next week, because we are going away for a couple of days, and I don't trust them to go back to the big cage when we won't be here at home to, do something if something happens. And we cannot transport them because, they are tiny animals. It's very stressful to travel long distances by car, so they will be here. We have the Mousy Cam, a friend that can come to keep an eye on them, and after that, they will go back to the big cage. Nerdigans, it seems like Daya is getting a mix of Roxy and Jen added. Jen, I don't know, because Jen was the narrator, unless you're talking about Jen from All Stars. But for me, Jen will always be season 12 Jen, and Jasmine is more similar to Jen at this point. Fulani, you said that Jasmine is painting dark, but did you feel that Georgios was painting dark at the beginning of the season? Because I did. Not really. Not really. Maybe with Jasmine it popped more because she's not highlighting in a skin tone. She's highlighting with this very pink powder. So maybe that's why I notice it more. Owen, I'd actually be very curious to see how Cornbread and Jasmine's relationship on the show would have changed to this point. If Miss Brad wasn't injured, I think the season would have had a completely different dynamic, and I don't think Carrie would have been out. Because once Cornbread went out, basically all of the dynamics changed. She had a very strong relationship with Carrie, and she had a very strong relationship with Willow. So the fact that Cornbread went out, and now out of the blue, Carrie went out as well, to me it tells me that they had another plan when Cornbread was in there. To me, she was the winner of the season, hands down. Not necessarily my favorite winner, because for me, Willow is my winner. After that, there would have been Cornbread and Nigeria, but for me, Willow is the winner. But considering also from a productions perspective, considering also the fact that we never had a big girl winner in Drag Race US, it would have made the most sense to ever winning, and she also has the talent to back it up. So it would have made more sense to me. But the moment she went out, all of the dynamics changed. That's inevitable. JP Medina. Deja Sky is the new Candy Who. Absolutely, she completely disappeared. I am surprised we are starting to see her in confessionals in the past 2 episodes. Because the episodes before, she had in total, if we ignore the confessionals on the runway, for episode 5 and 6, she had 1 confessional. If that's not the definition of being Candy Hoed, I don't know what it is. Spicy Icy, my gut feeling tells me that Angeria, Bosco Willow, and Lady British will be in the top 4. I don't think Jorgina Cha Cha will make the cut, but let's see. I hope that she didn't make the cut. I would like Jasmine in there as the young and talented, but at this point, they always had a young and talented in there. Always. It started in season 6, and for every season of Drag Race, we always had a young and talented. So unless they really go for more shock value, so at some point Jasmine will be the young and talented, but there is going to be one. For me, there is no question about it. And judging by what I'm seeing on the show, the favoritism is so strong that at this point I'm almost feeling sorry for JoJo's, because a ton of people don't like her just because she's being so pushed on the show. And I'm like, I mean, it's not her fault that producers decided to produce the show in this manner. I mean, if you don't want to like Georges, you don't need to, to be upset because of the show. Be upset for what she does outside of the show. Felicia, how many mirror moments have Vilma and Spot had this season? They have one every episode. Ryan, this season seems like after a long time there is no clear front runner season winner. In a way, yes, but only because they are sleeping on Angeria. Because for me, she is the one who is performing the best out of all of them. She's bringing it every single time. Every single time. JP, so they are basically in quarantine for the time being. For them, rats are very energetic creatures, but it's the best. Well, they are mice. They are mice. So, um, yeah, I mean, the temporary cage, the recovery home, is still way bigger than what mice usually get, but they are used to much more space than that. They are used to be able to run. They are used to be able to climb, and this is something that they cannot really do in there. I put a ton of things, I move them around, I keep them interested, but I cannot run the risk that a bigger area um, causes their territorial instinct to go against each other's. I cannot risk that because they have been separated for 3 weeks and Spot had an injury, which we still don't know if it was inflicted by Vilma, if it was something that she did on her own, but that happened. So you can never be more careful. It's a miracle that Spot is still here on her own. I am not going to do anything that puts her at risk after she went through all of that. So if they have to stay in the temporary small cage for 2 weeks, they will stay there for 2 weeks. And when I'm sure that they are completely bonded, that there is no problem, then they will go back to the big cage. It's still better than, not being alive. Oh, wait a moment, the chat skipped. JP, Air Tempest made a good question. What do you think about Willow's edit now? They said it went downhill, and I 100% agree. It didn't go downhill. It's not a bad edit. It's just that she faded in the background. They are letting her fade in the background so that they can give attention to other queens. The same thing has happened with Bosco. It's basically the Jasmine and Daya Betty show at this point. So they are really putting an accent on that dynamic. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's not like they're shitting on Widow. It's not like they're shitting on Willow, and she's also not the only one that's kind of fading in the background. The same has happened to Angeria as well. So it's just that they are developing other characters in this part of the season. So I am not really worried about that. Air Tempest, Deja had 4 confessionals over the last 4 episodes. 1 in episode 5, 3 in the last episodes. Angeria had the second Smolin, and Willow and Bosco. Did you do a confessional chart? Because I didn't do it. I didn't do it. But I also count the time. Because sometimes they really make a difference. Sebastian, season 9 didn't have a young and talented. You're right. Season 9 is the only exception to the rule. You're absolutely right. Leon Philbin for £2.50. Thank you so much. I finally made a stream on time thanks to your tweet. Oh my god, it worked? It worked. There used to be a time in which I was like, well, there is no real need to, spreading and posting and so on. Maybe you're annoying people, you should be conservative in how much you post. And then I started thinking, okay, you know what, let me just post it. I will post it on Twitter, I will post it on the Discord, so maybe if people don't get notifications, they will at least know. So thank you so much, and thank you for coming. Thaliel, which queen do you think deserves to be in the top 4? For me, absolutely Willow and Angeria, without any doubt. Then out of the other two spots, I really don't know because it's difficult to say if someone really deserves it or if they're been pushed a little bit. Like, I would say, for example, Jasmine, for me, it's totally deserving of a spot on the top four. She's entertaining, she has talent, she is growing, she is good television. For me, she absolutely deserves a spot in the top four. And the last spot, I don't know. I'm kind of torn between Lady British and Bosco. I like Bosco more, but just because Lady British is producing herself a lot. It's not like she has necessarily a better talent. It's just that I don't like when people produce themselves too much. I understand why she does it, but for me, it's not entertaining. Lovish, can we agree that Angie is one of the top three pageant queens the show has ever had? Top three? I don't know. I don't know. Top three in the recent history? Well, probably, but you know. My top one is always Jada Essence Hall. She is my top one. Oh, chat, don't skip again. My god. This YouTube chat is terrible. Damien, we are supposed to get a good for you lip sync this season according to Reddit. Good for you? Luis Felipe, what do we think about who do you think has the golden ticket? For me, Angeria or Willow? Because they are the front runners, and I think I would give it to a front runner. For me, they're the best. It's the best shock value. It's the best shock value, which would also make sense since they are kind of fading in the background. Air Tempest, I literally rewatched the episode just to count the number of Dacia's confessionals because I forgot if she had any in the last episode and somehow had 3. Well, I didn't have the chart. Did I have it for last time? I don't remember. I don't remember at this point. I have like 70 hours weeks. This is this is as much as I will be here. Half of my brain is already gone. JP, season 9 and Valentina for the young and talented. Well, she technically didn't really fit because the young and talented is always someone between 21 and 24. So, Valentina, I think she was already 25 during season 9, so she didn't fit by a hair. But if we want to, kind of consider her a young and talented, I guess we could. But technically, it's like very, very young. Usually 21, 22, 23, like 24 is already pushing it a little bit. Ryan Spring, Valentina was supposed to be the young and talented, I guess, in season 9 until her mask moment. I think she was supposed to be in the top. She was one of the top 4 queens, and then she basically destroyed herself. Fulani, did season 9 had the best top 4? Season 3? Maybe the best top 3? I think season 6 had the best top 4. Like ever. Like ever. It was so... everyone was so different. Everyone was so unique. Everyone would end up being incredibly successful, even outside of the Drag Race universe. So for me, will always be season 3. Sebastian, season 9 only had Young and Dumb. My god. Nelson, for $1.99, thank you so much. Lady was serving the female Squidward in the group. What's a Squidward? Let me Google that. The female Squidward. Oh, SpongeBob. I'm too old for that. I am too old for that. Oh, chat, don't skip. I am so behind. Luis Felipe, this episode felt like a fever dream. Michelle was wearing green from head to toe, and they were praising Daya and giving her so much screen time. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, Daya is lucky. Daya is lucky that the editors are treating her nicely, because they could have literally destroyed her with how much materials she is giving them. Damien, good for you. The song by Olivia Rodrigo. I don't know that. JP, this season feels forgettable to me. If they added, I don't know, season 12 cast here, they would devour these queens. The queens are not necessarily bad. They are a very well different group of queens, and they interact very well. Not as good as a season 12, but definitely better than season 13. Like at least one order of magnitude better than season 13. Castro, I think production is trying to replicate season 5. Multiple winners in the first half of the season, but still having one queen, Jinx and now Angeria, on the spotlight. If anything, this season feels less prepared than season 5. Season 5, like every elimination, you could see it coming. It was very much on script. This season feels a little bit more relaxed from that point of view. Like, I like that I don't really know who is going to go home next. It is shock value, but it's not shock value that comes out of nowhere, at least. So, you know, like Carrie going home. Yes, it feels like shock value, but when you look at it, she didn't really have a storyline. Her storyline was what? Not looking pretty? They weren't even mentioning the storyline. So, yes, it was a little bit of shock value, but it still kind of makes sense. And I like that they're doing this. I like that I don't know what's going to happen. I would prefer if, you know, it felt a little bit more natural, but I'm not going to complain. We survived season 13. I'm not going to complain about season 14. Ryan Spring, what's your age? I am ancient. Sebastian, what do you think about the last Drag Race UK versus the World episode? Sorry if you talked about it already. I want to hear your opinion. I didn't watch it. I opened Twitter and I got spoiled about the lip sync because I completely forgot that the episode of UK versus the World was out. I saw that they sent Pan Pan home and I was like, that's it. I am done with this shit. I am done. So I didn't even watch it. My partner watched it. He told me it was a shit show, but I was like, you know what? I don't have to inflict this pain on me. I'm not even reviewing this, like properly reviewing it. You know, I talk about it in the live stream, but so no, I don't want anything to do with it. At some point, I was like, maybe I should make a video and talk about what worked, what didn't work. But at the end of the day, I'm like, this thing is upsetting me. So why should I spend time talking about it? Even if people are interested, why should I do it? Because I'm not having fun doing it. So, you know, having fun is the most important thing. Jules, the editors are trying to be different to season 13? Perhaps that's the case. I think it is the case, because I think they're doing a much better job than in season 13. Also, they did a better job in casting. JP, how dare you not know who is Squidward? You are such a boomer. And I love it. I'm sorry, I didn't watch it. It was so stupid to me. It was just so stupid, and I was too old for it. Marlon, who is your favorite fashion queen? Probably Eureka. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably going to be Jada again. Damien, make sure Bad Boy is played at my funeral. Lovish, who do you think is going to go home next? All of my money is on Deja. All of my money is on Deja. Especially, she was already supposed to go home this episode for me. Luis Felipe, I miss Canada's Drag Race. You don't tell me. It's still going to be 6 months. 6 long months. But Drag Race Spain Season 2 is starting soon. And apparently Season 1 was really, really good. I still haven't watched it. I'm finishing Thailand Season 1. And then I will probably give Spain Season 1 a chance before I even watch Season 2. So don't worry, you can talk about it in the streams. If I'm not reviewing it, if I'm not, doing charts and everything else, I don't really care about spoilers. I enjoy a season to see the queens interact. It's not necessarily, the value of knowing what's going to happen. Nerdigans, Pangina is still getting threats. I have no doubt about it, because apparently most of the fandom has, a 2-digit IQ. So, good lord. Sebastian, they need to have a UK winner. The little name of the show is spoiling the winner. It has to be from the UK. I agree. Mark my words, it's going to be bag of shits. Spicy Icy, the way all of these queens seems traumatized on the recent UK versus the world episode had me so frustrated. I had not enjoyed one episode of this. Me neither. I was watching it mostly out of curiosity. And not curiosity for the season itself, curiosity for how the queens would react to it. They showed Pangina cry and kept the sound of Pangina crying as the music played. Oh shit. Ugh. JP, Bag of Shits and Blue did great in the Snatch game. I think it's worth seeing just a Snatch game because it's that great. It probably is, but by this point, I don't want anything to do with Bag of Shits, like at all. I don't care if it's funny, I don't care if she did good. It's going to be one of those rare cases in which I say, you know what? I'm putting my foot down on this one. I don't care about it. JXTT, I don't know why they didn't cast more people for UK versus the world. I think it would have worked better if they had a cast of 10 or 12 queens. Well, don't forget that this was filmed back to back from UK Season 3. So the moment they finished filming for UK Season 3, in a matter of 2 or 3 days, they started filming for UK versus the world. And on top of that, it's a joint production with the BBC. And I think the BBC is taking out most of the work for it. Because, yes, World of Wonder has fucked up Drag Race a little bit. Yeah, more than a little bit since they moved to VH1. But not as bad as UK Season 3 was fucked. That was the BBC. That was all on the BBC for me. So probably they didn't have time to edit both seasons. And if they had a season with 10 or 12 queens, maybe we would have had 8 to 10 episodes, and that's a lot to work. That's a lot. So I don't know if they didn't have the resources. I don't know, but it feels like it was a last-minute thought. Season 11 felt like a clear pre-produced season to Evie to get the chance to stand out among so many pageant and social media queens. Not necessarily. I think they were banking a lot on the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta, only to realize that it didn't really work out. But I think when they cast her, the heart was in the right place. The problem is that she became such an easy queen to make a villain out of, that they just went full villain edit on her. My favorite fashion queen is Lala Ree. Tiagi, I know most of the queens from Spain Season 2, and I know I know who most of the queens for Spain season 2 are, and not to like or shit on them, but I'm honestly terrified for the season because the promo was rough. Bella, do you think the queens actually get to pick the lipstick in All Stars rules? Sound to me like a production decision to create shock value and take the blame away from Ru. It could be. It's World of Wonder, so of course it could be. I don't think it's likely, because at the end of the day, production can always decide who is the winner of the lip sync. So they can go for whatever they want, basically. So I think there is a very high chance that they pick whoever they want to pick. But with that said, they can manipulate a lot of other things around it. Like manipulate the cryptique, for example, so that they have the queen pick whoever they want to pick. Because there is such a thing as backlash. Damien, I spent so long thinking UK versus the world was a made-up season. Well, the name is terrible, but it makes sense if they're going to make a franchise of this country versus the world. So I thought International All-Stars was a much better name. JP, I've seen the episode and good for you for not watching it. It was toxic as fuck and Pangina was destroyed when she was eliminated. It was terrible. I'm not going to watch it. I am done with that shit. Falani, if Bag of Shits wins, we officially know that runways don't matter. Queen, stop spending all that money. Well, runways don't matter anymore. I mean, have you seen Candy Muse? It's like you spend money on the runway if you want fans to appreciate what you bring, not really for the judges. Spicy, the last thing about UK versus the world. Blue was shaking after the elimination and everyone looked so uncomfortable while Pangina cried. This was far too much. Who was in the bottom? With Pangina, because I know that Blue eliminated her, but which of course makes complete sense because she was, the only one who deserved at this point, the only one who deserved to win all of this. So of course, Blue Eyed Ranger would eliminate her because we have seen how hungry she is for camera time to begin with. JP, Canada versus the world is going to be better. UK versus the world is a test season and it shows. Which makes sense. The BBC completely deserves that. Felicia, I think Jujubee was a last-minute choice because her runways are so short of what she did on her last All-Stars. Maybe it's also that she didn't really want to spend the money. It's really like they called her and said, listen, we need to fill a spot. Are you in for helping us launch this season? We will pay you this much. What do you think about it? And she just said, yeah, of course. I can take some things from my wardrobe and bring them to the runway. Castro, the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta, is the biggest disappointed I have had on Drag Race. I liked her pre-season, and then 20 minutes into the season, I started disliking her. Well, she is hungry for the camera. She's hungry for the camera, and they exploited the shit out of it. Personally, I find her very annoying outside of Drag Race. This constantly coming for Lady British for no reason whatsoever, rather than desperately trying to find things to be offended about, it's kind of really annoying. Especially when we have real shit going on. Did you watch Drag Race Vatican City? I did. I wanted to review it. I still haven't managed to review it. Damien, remember when RuPaul's gasp at the lip sync was rare? Yeah, now it happens every time. Which format would you put in the next All Stars? Do you think the actual format is tired? No, I think the lip sync assassin format is a really good format. The old All Stars format, the one that they're using for UK versus the world, absolutely yes, it is tired. But the new one works pretty well. I would keep it. Nerdigans, everyone outside of Blue or Baga. I agree on that. I agree. Even Jujubee. JP, remember the season 8 contract leaked, and one of the parts was that you can force queens to come back? So that's why I think she came back. Jujubee is not no, it was not the season 8, because the season 8 is the first contract that I actually had. For 4 years almost. No, it's the new one. It's a new one. And still they come back if they want to come back. They don't really force. They don't. World of Wonder doesn't really enforce the contract, and they don't even need to, because they have such a monopolistic position that threatening to not give you work is more than enough to have you fall in line. So, but they don't go around forcing queens to appear. It's a privilege to appear on the show. So if you want it, you take it. If you don't want it, you don't take it. I think it's in the contract just because they try to put as much as possible in the contract. Lovish, will every queen on UK versus the world got 10k before the season? Every queen on UK versus the world got 10k before the season to make outfits. Did it? Did they? Ryan, seems like Jujubee is totally destroying her name and legacy with UK. No, she's not really destroying her name and legacy. It's just that people are being very sensitive and don't really understand what she is doing in there. I know that people think that she's there to compete, but she is not. She is there to work. Jujubee for me was hired. She is not competing. She was hired to do a job. And, you know, her job is to make the season interesting. Her job is to lend some sort of credibility to the season. But she knows that she is not going to win. I think she knows it. That's not why she is there. So yeah, people will react the way they react, but I don't think that you can destroy Jujubee's legacy that easily. But I don't know, in a world where people only remember what they heard 5 minutes ago, maybe. Felicia, if you were not on the top, you were on the bottom. That's how Panchina ended up on the bottom. Oh, shit. The bullshit rule of All Stars 5 came back, and to this point on, if you're not in the top, you're in the bottom. Nerdigan Swiss coming for Lady British. Silky, it's like every week she has something to say. Lovish, what am I missing between the Resident Queen and Lady British? What did you think about Vatican's Drag Race? Well, first question. Every week there is a post of Silky coming for Lady British for something. It started when Camden was jokingly mocking Angeria. And she called it racism and blah, 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 and whatever, completely glossing over the fact that if two people are friends and they want to joke to each other's about things that in other contexts are considered offensive, that's their prerogative. It's their friendship. They can do whatever the fuck they want. You know? They don't have a problem with it. If you have a problem with it, then take it to the producers. They are the ones who decided to include the whole segment for television. So if you still find it offensive, then I don't know what else to tell you, but that's annoying as fuck. And everything else, it's even more petty. If you go on Reddit, on the drama subreddit, you will see all of that. It's sad. It's really sad. What did you think about Vatican City's Drag Race? It was a shit show, like a shit show of gigantic proportions. There are some good things in there, but I don't know. From my point of view, it was one of the worst drag. Not as bad as Down Under, but immediately after Down Under, for sure. For sure. The moment you see the host insulting contestants, I don't know. Air Tempest, Ilona spilled the 10,000 something stipend. Jules, Jenny JK did James Charles for Snatch Game. That's a choice. That's a choice. Lovish, Lemon or Todo? Who's Todo? Set it at Roscoe. Oh, okay. Well, that is a good thing. That is a really good thing. That is what we've been asking for years. That the queens are actually given some money to prepare, you know, since runway is one of the biggest expenses that they have. Who would you want from Canada to come back? Be creative and don't say Pinocchio. I'm going to say Pinocchio. I'm going to say Pinocchio. Anyone from season 2. Season 1, I watched the first 3 episodes and a half, so I cannot really say because I didn't get to know them enough. But anyone from season 2, really, like really anyone. I heard that Monday Matt said that maybe they would stop doing drag, which is a pity, but I hope that we get to see more of him. I really liked Monday Matt. Damien, queens were always given a budget for runways that RuPaul keeps for himself. That's a rumor. That's a rumor. Probably started by Willem, if I'm not... No, it wasn't Willem. It was something that was spilled, and then somebody thought it was Drag Race, and then somebody else thought, well, if somebody's going to spill this kind of tea, it's going to be Willem. That's how it went down. JP, the resident queen is as if Azealia Banks and a turf and a baby. I don't want to be toxic, but she is so annoying. She is. I mean, there is nothing dehumanizing in saying that somebody is annoying. I mean, if you're being annoying, you're being annoying. It's not like you say it out of spite. It's just an objective thing. So you are trying to make, you know, you're trying to cancel something. Wow. Whatever. Tiagi, Enorma Jeans lip sync disqualification and then a winner with no wins? The host calling a queen a truck driver? I was furious the entire time. Well, you are forgetting that they crowned Miss Congeniality a gaslighting bitch. Miss Congeniality. That was so fucked up and somehow so on brand. And if you're from Europe, you know exactly what I mean. And I'm not saying that as an offense. It's just like common knowledge. Air Tempest, what did you think of Lakeisha Kiani's 80s runway? It was shit. Everything she served was shit. The look was shit, the attitude was shit, the smile was shit, the makeup was shit, everything was shit. Lovish, what's veteran? Ryan, what is Vatican City Drag Show? It's how I call Drag Race Italy. It's Drag Race Vatican City. It started as a joke. Last year. And then out of the blue, like 6 months later, they actually filmed the season. So from that point on, I called it Drag Race Vatican City. JP, the fact that the winner had no challenge wins showed that it was a shit show. It was a shit show. I didn't even finish it. At some point, I was like, no. Like UK versus the world. You eventually reach a point in which you're like, yeah, maybe it's drama, maybe it's whatever. But if you're getting angry, what's the point? what's the point? I mean, the only point that I could ever get for watching shit like that is if I'm paid to do it. But I'm not. So, no. No. And not nearly enough, I would add. Owen, Juju really got her free 10,000, then pulled all of her outfits from her closet. And she did it right. That's exactly what she was supposed to be doing. Scarlet Bobo, Ilona, Lupithia, Rita, and maybe Sexy Doll would be my choices. Oh my god, I need more Sexy Doll. MacGyver would kill it if invited, and as some proper runways somehow seem to be overlooked in Canada's season 2. Well, she was kind of a good lip syncer, so it's a good way to go down. Luis Felipe, how was Lakeisha Kiani a gaslighter? Well, if you watched the whole fight and the whole disqualification and everything, it all started because of her. She was the one who started it. Fulani, do you think that Brooklyn Heights would be a contestant for the next UK versus the world, the way Pangina did? Since apparently judges can compete now. She could, and I have no doubt that they would probably ask her. But I don't think she would. It's not a good move. Once you get out of Drag Race and you get out well from Drag Race and you land your own gig as the main judge of a Drag Race season, you don't go back to the competition. I mean, Pangina comes from a season that it's not mainstream. Canada's Drag Race is mainstream. So there is a difference in there. Jules, we got some young fans up in here. Me, I am the youngest one. Tiagi, I live in Spain and honestly was embarrassed by Italia. Lakeisha Kiani favoritism the entire way. Oh my god, I never had such strong negative feelings for a queen since until UK versus the world for a bag of shits. It's like intense, it's like at some point my ability to distinguish the two things goes down the drain, and I am like, there is no editing going on in here, you're just a piece of shit. So let me put some distance. Let me cut everything, because if I expose myself too much about it, if I expose myself too much to shit like this, then I will need to vent. And I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to. Because it's not it's not what I stand for. It's not what I want people to get as a message, watching this thing and then be so upset about it, then you need to go online to vent. Because a lot of people will vent to the queens. And one thing is venting, in a live chat, venting on Discord. Another thing is venting on these people, regardless of what they do. Did you have a favorite queen on Vatican's Drag Race? I liked Norma Jean a lot. I relate to older queens. That's just how it is. I relate more to older queens. The moment I see a younger queen saying something stupid about something so obvious, I'm like, no, please, no. I didn't survive all of these years to end up in a loop about the same stupid shit over and over again. So you are over 30. I already relate. that's no going around that. JP, what was the host name for Vatican City? I always remember her as Supreme's evil twin. I don't remember, but I can tell you, for me, she was one of the worst hosts for Drag Race. It's like She was like an automaton. That's how she came off. It was really, really bad. But the woman, um, the other judge, the woman, she was so much fun to watch. She was so fucking high the entire time. She was the best thing to come out of that season. It was like she is the female Carlson. She's the female Carlson. She was basically the only redeeming quality in that season. Why do you hate Baga? Well, hate is a strong word, and you also have to understand. Hate is also a strong feeling. It implies a very hard investment of emotions, of time, of brain power, and you don't just give hate to anyone. So it's not that I hate Bag of Shits. It's just that I find her really insignificant, really annoying in a way. So I'm like, you know what? You do you. Just do it away from me. I don't want to see you. In the words of Candy O, how old are you? I'm ancient. I'm very ancient. But at the same time, I'm still very young. So it's one of the two. You get to pick. JP, Ryan asked, why do you hate Baga so much? And I just know you aren't saying shits, but I had to ask. Well, I just find her very annoying. Like, very annoying. It's the entitlement. It's the fact that she looks like she doesn't really put effort in her act anymore, as if she arrived, she's a superstar. And apparently once you get known, it's the moment in which you can start putting any real effort. And if anyone calls you out, then they are haters. They are people. All of your fan base should attack them and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm not here for this shit. I'm sure at some point you had a talented career, but that's not what I'm seeing today, and I am not interested in seeing anything more. The world is full of drag queens. You mind your business, I mind mine. And that's how it is. Tiagi, thank you. I loved her so much, and Enorma was gaslighted and pushed to her breaking point. Plus, she was tanked in the edit. Absolutely, that's exactly what I saw. And because you have to understand, I was preparing a review. So the problem is the subtitles are not reliable. So I asked for translation from a couple of people. The people on the subreddit were really, really helpful in explaining things, not just cultural references, also in providing detailed translations. And I completely agree. She was gaslighted. They just found an easy target, and everybody was. It looked like a group of wolves. Now, it was uncomfortable to watch. Damien, Mundane Matt has come out as a trans woman. I should stop calling her Mundane Matt. Well, good for her. Castro, you have to watch Drag Race Thailand Season 2 to watch the best top 6 episode ever. The Thai musical episode makes the US musicals be even more shit. Well, I will definitely watch it, but I will take my time with it. When we finish season 1, I'm starting to get really curious about Spain, because when many people tell me watch this season is really good, and it happens a lot during a long period of time, I'm like, well, maybe that season really deserves it. Still, I'm not following 100% because it's subtitles, so. But the subtitles for Thailand were made very well, because they actually took the times to explain the cultural relevance of different songs or different references, which is something that it wasn't in the subtitles for Italy, for example. So I appreciated it more for Thailand because at least I could understand what the fuck was going on without spending 15 minutes every time. Liam, Bagger knows TV production and knows how to get the camera time. She doesn't care how she comes across because she knows that any publicity is better than no publicity. That works, but only until a certain point. Because once you have a reputation, that thing that any publicity is good publicity is not really true anymore. Once you have a reputation and the amount of money that you make and your ability to continue to work depends on your reputation, then you only want good publicity or no publicity. Ryan, Divina de Campo needs to return to television ASAP. I'm not going to watch that. JP, to me, it's okay to be entitled as long as you put effort and just be as talented as you say and not thrown a tantrum. Baga is talented, just not as much as she says she is. Well, the talent, I agree with you. The talent is not in question. It's the work. The amount of she looks lazy. That's my problem. You can be talented as hell, and you can also be lazy as hell. The two things are not incompatible. So what I see is a lot of laziness, and I'm not here for that, especially when it's accompanied by entitlement. It's really too much. It's really too much. Damien, Herstory of the World, Rusical from All Stars 2 remains unmatched. Well, the first Rusical for me will always be the best one. Always. It had heart. It had heart. And there was no autotune, which means the queens who sounded good were actually good singers. Castro, Spain is officially the best season ever. I will tell you about that while I watch it. Jules, Spain is really good, but it's certainly got its favorites. That did annoy me. I don't like when bitchy young queens who think they're prettier than everyone else are favorite. I know. I relate to that. And thank God Jorgina Cha Cha is not that bitchy about it. Otherwise, it would have been a train wreck. Felicia, if you do watch Spain, check out Marta Mama's recaps. She does an excellent job of explaining the cultural references. I will actually write it down so that I don't lose that. And somebody mentioned it last time that there are communities who actually write, it's fan communities who actually write subtitles for these seasons of Drag Race, and they actually spend time in including all of these cultural references and making the season more accessible for when you watch it from the outside. So I would like to find something like that as well, because that really helps a lot. It takes like a couple of minutes to read all of that appears on screen, but it's still better than having to Google something, or what's the word I'm looking for? Completely disinvesting. Like at some point you hear something and you're like, I don't know what that means. Well, it doesn't really matter. Let's continue watching, because you lose a lot of what's going on. Damien, I forgot Shade the Rusical story. You are forgiven. You are forgiven. Liam, shading Divina de Campo, not a fan of red wig and silver dresses. I love red wigs and silver dresses, especially when they come with a good attitude. Damien, Willow was auto-tuned this episode. I'm pretty sure everyone was auto-tuned. Like everyone, even those who didn't need it. They need that kind of polished sound for some reason. Apparently, human voice is not pretty enough. Ryan, Spain was one of the most heartfelt season for me, personally. You mean recently? Why don't you like Divina? I mean, well, we had kind of an exchange on Twitter, and I was like, well, you know what? I will not have conversations on Twitter anymore. I will just post shit and links to the channel and keep it at that. And of course, there is Megan. How can we forget about Megan? And yeah, she is very talented. For me, she was the crowned winner of season 1, without any doubt. She is so much more talented than what she got recognition for. That talent is not the problem. Attitude is the problem. Talia, any high hopes or expected queens for whole winners? I would like to see Jada, if it's possible. I will take 12 iteration of Jada and keep it at that, and may the best Jada win. That's what I am expecting. But seriously, I hopes, that's a difficult thing to say, because of course I would like to see everybody who ever won Drag Race. The point is it going to be good for them? Because I can live without seeing them on Drag Race. But if they do it, will that destroy their image, or will they be there just to entertain and everything will be back to normal after that? So, I don't really know if wishing a queen to be in there is a good thing to begin with. Air Tempest, you should watch La Mas Draga, because even though it's rigged as fuck, it's still a better show than Drag Race, because it cares about the queens more. Yeah, that is not the first time that I'm getting suggestions for that. So I will check it out. I will check it a little bit of it at a time. I will check it out. Liam, I'm not going to answer that. I would like to remove that and forget about that. Felicia, who is Mundane Matt? Felicia, you are the winner of this week's challenge. Doesn't anybody know who is Mundane Matt? Am I like the only one who knows who he is? Have I been referencing something for months and nobody had any idea what I was referencing? We need Dragula 4 ASAP. I want a quality show again. Well, we just had season 4. So, season 5, give them time. The Boulet brothers take their time, but it's always time well spent. I am willing to wait even 2 years for every season of Dragula. I don't need Dragula every year. But when I do get it, I want the quality that they got me used to. The quality and the care that they got me used to. Because that's Dragula. And it stands for something. Who is Megan? Oh shit. Oh shit. Well, okay, Mundane Matt was a YouTuber who had a channel called Mundane Matt, who became successful because basically he said things that people didn't like, and they retaliated by abusing the copyright system, which of course had a strained effect, and so he rose to fame because of that. And at the end of all of this, he ended doing the same things that were done to him to others, then denying it, and then he was tricked into providing receipts that he was actually doing that shit. And all of this happened live. It's like YouTube history. And of course, his career ended. And but physically, he resembles Eve 6000 a lot. They have, for me, they have like this huge resemblance. That's why I call them Sorry, I called Heave Mundane Matt. El Polito, actually, I like watching Drag Race Vatican City because I am a messy bitch. Well, I'm not judging you. If it's entertaining, then good for you. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. JP, we don't know who is Mundane Matt Top, you ancient bastard. Come on, it was like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I'm not that ancient. Norveg, have you seen Willow's Instagram post with Butch Denali for this week's runway? I was living. I'm not on Instagram. I hate Facebook. I really... Oh, sorry. Now it's called Meta. So, I hate Meta. I actively hate Meta. You will not hear me use that word too much. But trust me, when I use it, I mean it. I hate Meta. Luis Felipe, Fantasia did not get the reference from your Canada's video. Oh my god, Fantasia, you're terrible. You didn't even tell me. Fulani, what is the premise of Dragula? I guess I'll give it a try. Well, it's horror, filth, and glamour. It's a horror take on drag, a fucked up take on drag, a punk rock take on drag. And I am totally on board with that. I love Dragula. I love that style of drag. I love that way of doing drag, that provocative way and unapologetic way of doing drag. Because most of what we see on Drag Race is very, very sanitized. Very sanitized. So I like that we have a show like Dragula, and it has so much respect for the contestants. I mean, on Dragula, the Boulet brothers are the ones who ask and record the confessionals with the queens. It's a total different approach. It's you can see it. If you watch it, it will be very, very clear the kind of dynamic that go around that. But if horror is not your thing, then it can be really off-putting. Damien, the peanut butter chocolate bar by RuPaul was quality. Was it? Ryan, Dragula Season 4 had some really reality TV ready queens. Yes, they had. They had. Which kind of ruined the show a little bit. But somehow, I don't know if you watched the reunion. That reunion handled that situation really well. Really well. JP, you are like Mamaru levels of reference. We don't get about 95% of your reference. Do I also get the money that she has? I'm asking for a friend. Me and Mamaru are nowhere near, but I bet we sound the same. Damien, I remember watching UK and waiting Century for the second season, and we got 2 in the same year. Which queens from Drag Race would you love to see on Dragula? Oh, that's a tough question. That's a really tough question. I don't think no one really has the aesthetic for Dragula, unless they do it and I don't know about them. I don't know. Norveg, I'm not on Instagram. I saw it on Tumblr. Well, if you're on Discord, post it on Discord. I will surely see it because I'm always on Discord. Tiagi, wait, the Boulet are the ones filming the confessional? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. There is, you can see it. I don't remember, but it was during season 4, and I think either it was the finale or the reunion, in which they show footage from the filming of the confessionals. and you actually hear the boule asking the questions when they film. But differently from Drag Race, they don't film all of the confessionals immediately during each day of filming. At least I don't think so, because I never spotted any difference in the confessionals. But it looks like, it's very safe to say, that they film everything in one session. Imagine Mary Cherry and Candy Muse on Drag Race season. Oh my god, I would love that. Mary is so messy. I would love that. Sen, Fantasia is not wrong. The only difference between Mamaru and top RPDR videos is that one of them has charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. And the one is Mamaru. I would also add that one of the two is broke, the other one has a fucking fracking farm. You know, while watching Thailand, because Thailand has a different outro song from RuPaul. I don't even remember the real lyrics. But the song is, we can frack tonight, we frack tonight. I need to record that as the deranged queen and then change my outro to that. Oh shit. JP, that is the reason why I love Dragula so much. The way they just poke the wound and break what is unacceptable is really fun to me. I agree. They push boundaries. That's the drag that I know and love. The one that is unapologetic, that pushes boundaries. Tiagi, Cherry Valentine for Dragula. Ryan, Utica might do good on Dragula. Definitely Charity. Yeah, I would agree on that. I would agree on Charity. Maybe Evie Oddly. Maybe even Diabetes. If she brings, her true self forward. Damien, Charity case for Dragula Season 5. I'm sure that the Boule would be more than happy to have some queens from Drag Race. It's good publicity. But they have to fit the aesthetic of the show. It's not like you can jump from shows to show. That's not what Dragula does. Jade was actually experimenting with her drag for a long time before going on Dragula. It's not like somebody called her and said, "Oh, do you want to come to this show?" "Oh, yes, I will pretend to do that kind of drag." No, it didn't work like that. Custard, thank you so much for 200 yen. I'd like to support more fracking jingles. I feel particularly inspired. So, a full on. My parodies are usually like 2 minutes, so a full on. But the We Can Frack Tonight, I really want it as an outro. I really want it. To have it there at the end of every video. It's like saying to people, did you maybe subscribe while watching this? Because I'm giving you a reason to unsubscribe immediately. Oh, I love the We Can Frack Tonight. It's my new favorite one. The problem is that there are no other lyrics. It's only We Can Frack Tonight. In Spain, season 1, the queens literally hear one of RuPaul's songs and straight up roast it, saying that it's repeatable and bad. They legit didn't know who Mamaru is. Oh shit. Being on Drag Race and you don't know who RuPaul is, that's a recipe for disaster. I hope they never get on an international season and meet RuPaul in there. She would be like, "You said you didn't know who I was." Dragula is not on WoW Presents. Yes, because Dragula is not produced by WoW Presents. By World of Wonder. Is produced by the Boulet Brothers production. Which means that they sold, probably they leased the streaming rights to Shudder. Damien, am I allowed to post fake season 14 spoilers in the chat? It's better to avoid that, because anytime there is some sort of spoilers, I automatically ban people, like without even looking at the nickname, because I hate that. I really hate that. I'm very understanding, but you have people who actually come, and good thing I'm always late for the chat, which means there's always a moderator that can silence shit. But we have a section on the Discord with spoilers. And the Discord is a more not controlled, what's the word? Familiar environment. Like, if people want to be there, they actually have to want to be there, follow the links, find all the different threads and so on. But on a YouTube video, you can really get random people who just get suggested a video and are like, oh, you know what, I will just come here and spoil everybody. I don't give a shit. Would you have Crowned in Dragula Season 4? Well, for me, Sigourney Beaver was my choice for this season. She was not necessarily the most deserving, at least from, the decisions that they took, but for me she was. And she put the veg in the badge, so how can I say no? Marlon, I'm curious about my trauma with Divina. It's nothing. It's stupid. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Dragula is on Shudder, yes. I wanna say to you, what happens to that queen that said that Mamaru's song was bad? Oh, JP, you removed the comments. I was reading that. You know what? I need a little bit more of lime water. Wait a moment. I need to refresh my lime. Sigourney should be on Drag Race. Sigourney should always be on screen. That's what I'm telling you. I'm going to watch on the 7-day free trial. That's a smart choice. Someone speculated that Cornbread quit the season and their ankle injury was an excuse. I think I read something like that as well, but there was an answer to that. A compelling answer that proved that that was not the case, but I cannot remember what it was. Which season of Dragula is the best? For me, season 2 was the best. For me, season 2. I like a certain amateur quality to my reality television show. I don't like things that are highly polished because it's supposed to be to portray reality, and reality seldom is polished. So I like a little bit of grit, if you know what I mean. Ryan, I guess Sigourney might be in Drag Race in the future and will definitely make it to top 4. I don't think Sigourney would be in for all the bullshit that the judges do on Drag Race. I can imagine her snapping back like in a second. You know, like this, like, bitch, the fuck did you say to me? Do you remember Melissa in the second extermination, season 1 in Dragula? No. No, I don't remember her. I tell you who I remember. Violencia. She didn't even make it to episode 2, and I liked her so much. I'm talking about season 3. But I do understand why she didn't do the extermination. Being thrown from a plane is it's definitely something. Air Tempest season 2 works well because it centers on two polar opposites and their status in the competition. Parallels how they're viewed by other queens. That's what's so smart about it. And for me, it also has some of my favorite queens because Victoria Black is my favorite queen from Dragula, from out of all of the seasons. There's nothing I don't like about her. So, and it's also it's a rough season. It's a rough season. It's really good. And, well, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil it. But it's a good season from top to bottom. So once you have finished, come back to the live stream and remind me. I'm talking to Fulani. Remind me what I said about season 2. That it was compelling. And then I will tell you. JP, I want to say to you what happens to the queens that said Mamaru's song was bad, but I don't want to spoil you. Oh, okay. Thaliel, did you agree with all the winners crowned from Dragula? Well, Vander absolutely deserved the first season. There was no contest there. For me, Victoria was the winner of season 2. Landon, it was well deserved. I agree with her as a winner. For season 4, I would have gone with Sigourney, but they really decided to go the redemption kind of route with Dali, which works. It works really well. I'm not going to deny that. But personally, I would have preferred Sigourney. Every reality TV show is somewhat scripted. Yes, absolutely. It's television. It has to be scripted. It needs to be contained in some way. That's not really my problem. The problem is when it's 199% scripted. That's when it becomes annoying. Air Tempest, she literally looked like she was going to send Soji to the hospital. It was fucking insane and I loved it. Wind of Gas Violencia was hungry with those donut titties. Oh, I liked Violencia so much. I liked it. It was heartbreaking to see her going home first. Sigourney would be very annoyed at the judges of Drag Race. She was very tame with Mary. She could have done way worse, and we've seen her do it. She would be uncontainable on Drag Race. Probably she would be disqualified. Watermelon Ludmilla, how's everyone feeling today? Pretty fucked up in the head, but apart from that, not bad. Not bad. Nana, season 2 is what got me hooked. I loved season 1 for the West African representation because I am West African myself. That's good. That's really good. Who is West African from season 1? We're talking about season 2. We're talking about Dragula, right? JP, Victoria Black is so perfect. I was so pissed when she didn't came back for season 4 and Ali did, but for no reason at all. Well, she said that she didn't really want to compete in a normal season. She would have liked an all-star season, which I do respect. But I really liked what she did in Resurrection, and I'm happy that she came back to do it because she does incredible prosthetics. I think she actually does it professionally, and by professionally I don't mean for her profession. I mean she's hired and paid for doing them for big productions. So she has a huge talent for that. It's not amateur in the slightest. And I like her demeanor. I just like her. She's so chill. Oh god. Ryan, Sigourney will definitely be back for an All Stars, regular, or at least a resurrection. I agree. She's also great television. She's also great television, and those tits are everything. I'm telling you. I feel bad for Saint when Daly returned because it was like, oh, you want a ticket to maybe win next season? Oh, but we're bringing Dolly back anyways because lol, why not? Yeah, it felt a little bit like a middle finger, but at least Saint got the money. They both got to come back, but Saint got the money. And she was declared the winner. JP, I agree with all winners of. I agree with all the winners of Dragula besides Dali. He is great, but just not the winner worthy to me. Even the storyline of redemption of Saint was better to me. I agree that it was better, and I like the change that Dali had over time because even though it was like 3 years, he changed massively. um so I appreciate that. I appreciate, that you welcome changing and finding new styles, new ways of expression. I absolutely love that. But the problem for me is that she kind of brought the same characters and same characterization throughout the season. It started to feel like I was watching the same thing over and over again. I mean, this character was a good one. The problem is, it was always the same. So that's when I was like, well, I don't know about that. It feels a little bit repetitive. Oh, Nana. No, no, she was talking about Drag Race. BB is from Cameroon. Okay. Okay. That's why I was like, oh, was West African from Dragula? Don't remember that. JP, Victoria's drag is movie level of great. Absolutely. Absolutely. That fucking witch that she played on Resurrection, I was mesmerized by that. It was literally so good. My god, I need to watch it again. I need to watch it again. Oh, Talia Shady. That is so shady. Dali reminds me of Simone. I don't know. There is something that puts me off about Simone. And the strange thing is that I didn't have this same impression when the season was airing. I didn't have it. It was not like I was living for Simone, but it didn't have like this bad taste in 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 my mouth that it has right now. I don't even know where it comes from. See, did you see Alyssa's runway for this episode? Looks like a better version of George's look. No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. No, Marlon, I'm not saying. I'm not saying it was. No, it wasn't traumatic. It wasn't. But in a way, it also was, because it really caught me so much off guard. I was like, how how come a person as famous as you assumes the worst from people she doesn't know? That's, I mean, you are paid not to do that. You know, you're not some random idiot online. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I can tell you, I stopped having exchanges on Twitter unless I kind of, I know, no. Well, no is a big word. But I have, unless it's people I already had exchanges with. Air Tempest, Erica Clash better return because she was literally iconic every second she was on screen. Oh my god, she was. She was, and she was robbed during her last extermination because she won that. She won. Are you kidding me? It's like the Boulay were asking, did you, what was it? Did you fantasize romantically about a family member? And Erica Clash was like, yes. Like, no doubts in her face. She was like, yes. It was so fucked up. It was so fucked up. I was living. Erica was iconic. Wind of Gust, you mentioned a while ago that you were underwhelmed with the filth finale performance of season 4. What do you think qualifies as an excellent filth performance? I would tell you, but Fulani is here and she is going to watching Dragula, so I don't want to spill too much. I don't want to ruin the performance. But it's in the finale of season 2. There was an excellent filth performance in there. And that for me is where the bar is. It has to be filthy. Like, it has to be something that is objectively filthy. Not a representation of filthy. It has to be filthy. That's for me, you know, what I expect for the filth category. Ryan, personally, the season 13 top 4 was my least favorite top 4 in any Drag Race season. I will sign on that. I agree. It was so lackluster, it was unbelievable. It was like they eliminated all of the talented ones so that the mediocre ones would look better by comparison. And, you know, I'm not saying this in an offensive way. There is nothing wrong with mediocrity. We are all there, or at least we have all been there. If you got better than that, that's where you started. So it's not meant to be in an offensive way, but it was not a good top 4. JP, the things that puts me off about Simone is that she looks like a young RuPaul. Yes, and it's not just the physical similarity. My God, the way she. Do you remember when Simone, out of the blue, all on her own, she started pushing the inner saboteur storyline? And RuPaul looked so contempt when she heard Simone say that. She was like, "Yes, Simone, yes. That's exactly the storylines that we want to sell. Yes. Good girl. Good girl." Oh, Marlon. Yes, I will. In a future biography. A little bit of Franco's and a little bit of land. It's a long, long way. Nerdigans, when you've got white Karens attacking you for the filth floor show, that's getting the job done. Hoso's filth show on racism did that. I cannot recall that. I cannot recall that. And it was not that long ago. It was like 3 months ago. I cannot recall Hoso's performance. I don't think I can recall any performance. That's how memorable everybody was. I think Rosé was really good in a messy top 4. She didn't do bad in any episode. She was arguably the best in that top 4. The best. Yeah. I mean, they should have just crowned Candy Muse. You're going to have a season like that, you need a winner like that. I mean, you're going to be messy, embrace being messy, and just crown Candy Muse. But they didn't, so would have been gaggy. Simone did the same yes, it was the factory woman. Over and over, nobody ever said anything. You're absolutely right. But she did flash the veg. She did flash the veg. We should give her recognition for that. Really thought Olivia was going to make it to top 4 and hoped Utica would make it as well. Just never saw it for Rosé. I saw it for Rosé. I kind of saw it for Gottmik as well, but I didn't really agree with that. Utica was definitely more deserving. I didn't really like Olivia. She was kind of getting on my nerves with this fake nice character, and then all the bullshit going on with Utica, and then at some point everyone cannibalized Utica, and it was way too much. It was way too much. Nerdigan, Hoso was a caricature of an Asian. I still can't recall that. Was it the one when he had like 2 puppet faces on the side? 2 puppet heads? Could be. Luis Felipe, do you see Simone replacing Mamaru as the main host? Absolutely not. Like, not in a million years. There's like 50 queens better qualified than Simone. Why Simone? How did you come to Simone? That's like one of the last queen I would ever say for replacing Mamaru. No. No, absolutely not. No way. No way. Well, unless they're trying to save money. Fulani Rosé was good, but she never had the passion in her eyes. You could tell this was her second option since she didn't make it on Broadway. Oh, that's shady. That's shady. I know what you mean because I saw it as well. But my explanation was the fact that she was in full defense mode. Like since the very beginning when they allegedly sent her home to the pork chop lounge because of Olivia, and then everything that went on when they didn't give her win, she looked like they were trying to trigger her over and over and over, her and Denali. So my impression is that she was in full defense mode, not that she was not necessarily passionate about doing drag. That's how I interpret the whole thing. Yeah, Ryan, I agree. I agree. They could have easily edited Utica to look funny. They could have. But you are not allowed to make fun of RuPaul that way. Not that way. You do that, no mirror moment for you. It will be edited out last minute, and then you go home. And you better shut the fuck up and take it up the ass and goodbye. Next time, think better. Blazing, give us a queen to judge for every challenge. It would be so refreshing. It would be so fucking refreshing. And we never get it. And they have an army of queens. A ton of them are even still under contract. They could have easily called them back like this. And they never do it. They never do it. I mean, look at the All Stars format. They started bringing the lip sync assassin, everything changed. It really brought a new level to the whole competition. They went from a tired format to a winning one. This franchise is based on the queens, not on World of Wonder, not on RuPaul, not on Michelle Visage. It's based on the queens. They are the biggest asset, and they are not using it. JP, the one that Hoso was eating raw fish and holding a doggy bone to represent how the world sees Asian people. Oh, shit. Shit. I don't know why I completely removed the last episode of Dragula from my mind. It's like I can still, not perfectly, but I can still recall the reunion. See, in terms of the finale, no one deserved the crown. Talk about season 13. The lip syncs were so lackluster. They were. They were. Gottmik got a little bit better. It looked like she got a little bit of lip sync lessons. She got a little bit better. She was still got crunching, but she got a bit better. Then Rosé was injured. Then, Candy Muse knew the words, which I guess is a way of having a good lip sync. And Simone was doing the best that she could. But yes, I mean, it was not very good. It was not very good. What was Simone's storyline? I feel it was one of the weakest one from a winner. It was a redemption arc. The young black gay boy from the country making it to the big city thanks to the power of drag. That was the basic storyline. Even though she was edited as a hero, she could have done whatever she wanted on that season. She got a pass on basically everything. And she had some good moments, I'm not going to deny that. It's just that season 13 was cursed to begin with. It was just cursed. yes, the switch up runway with Simone and Utica was iconic. It was. They interpreted each other's mannerism to the T. It was literally one of the best. No, it was the best. Damien, I miss Alyssa and Orion on my TV screen. I liked Orion so much. I liked Orion so much. Alyssa, she was done dirty, but she didn't make a particular good, not good, not even bad. She didn't pop off from the screen for me. It's also a matter of editing, of course. But Orion, yes. It was so chill. Orion was so chill. It looked like he was high the entire fucking time. Orion was like, I need to take a bathroom pause. And she was smoking like 5 joints. If you had to crown the winner for season 13, who would it be? Doesn't have to be the top 4. Well, I'm going to tell you both options. From the top 4, Candy Muse. Absolutely. Absolutely. If that is the top 4 I have to work with, then Candy is my winner. And you know what I think about Candy Muse. So otherwise, for me, Denali was a worthy winner. Like, she was legit one of the most talented queen in the season. What would you think of Gigi Good and Peppermint coming back for All Stars? Peppermint, yes, I would like her. I don't think it's going to happen since she signed a contract with the production of Call Me Mother. So if they're going to make other season, she is going to be under that contract, and it's going to be difficult to see if she will be allowed to participate on Drag Race. Considering the kind of contracts that they have on Drag Race, the two things are definitely not going to be compatible. So I don't think we're going to see Peppermint because of that. Gigi, I would like to wait a little longer to give her time to fully evolve. Gigi is also transitioning, which is a process that takes years. So and it's not just a physical thing, it's also a mental things. I would like to see Gigi Good again in 4 to 5 years since season 12 to give her full time to evolve, because I am curious to see what's going on. Ryan, did you watch the Watch a Packing of Orion? Made me love her even more. No, I didn't watch it because I don't like Michelle Visage anymore. She gets on my nerve, especially on Watch a Packing, because you can tell that she's trying her best to act, the whole thing. And sometimes she makes it, sometimes she's really bad at it, and it's cringe because if you cannot even connect empathically, not connect empathically, connect on an emotional level using your natural empathy with other people, then you really know that you are just there for the paycheck. And on top of that, uh, I don't really want to support World of Wonder with my views on YouTube, especially since they always push narratives. Now, Watch a Packing, as far as I understand, is one of the less offender in pushing narratives, but still. Nerdigans, I'm sad the A team is down to Angeria and Theo Sky. No, don't say it like that. If you say Camgeria, shit. Oh shit. Oh my god, Fulani, my god. Tamisha Iman and her colonoscopy bag was the clear winner of season 13. Oh shit. Ryan Peppermint seems to be doing really good and doesn't need all stars. I agree. She doesn't need it. You can always use a little bit more of clout of push, but it's not like she needs it. I agree with that, and I support the emergence of new drag shows because competition is not necessarily a bad thing. RuPaul's Drag Race and World of Wonder have become complacent over the years. You can really see a drop in quality. So a little bit of competition might actually help them understand that yes, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but sometimes you might want to give it a makeover, if you know what I mean. Do you think we'll see any queens from regular All Stars returning again? Absolutely, absolutely. Adore already said that she was invited and she declined, but she is open to do it the moment she feels like she's in the right mindset. So definitely, definitely. Do you agree with the Crown Queen from season 7? For me, she was in the right time for it. Ginger was my pick. Looking back, I agree with you. Ginger deserved it more. But while season 7 was airing, Violet seemed like the obvious choice for me. Probably because I was still in the naive way of watching Drag Race. So I was completely sold on the fact that Violet was changing, she was maturing, and blah blah blah, all of that bullshit. Because that's how Violet is, you know? And I like Violet because she owns it. You can be a bitch, just own it. There's no problem with it. And if you take it too far, just apologize and move over. There's no problem. Do you think the producers would Jen Denali if she comes back? I don't think Denali would be easy to gaslight. Now, I'm not saying that Jen is stupid, but Denali is very aware. Very aware. The fact that they didn't really manage to trigger her, despite everything that was going on in season 13, that's a whole different story. Jen is more naive. She's still naive. That's how they managed to gaslight her to that point. The same thing would never happen to Denali. They can try. I don't think it would work. So, no, I don't think she would get the same treatment. It's not a kind of edit that would work for her. But she's a perfect candidate as a winner. I would like to see Sasha Velour again in an all-winner season or something. I would like it as well. I don't think she would do it. I don't even. At some point, I ask myself, why did she even do Drag Race? Because she doesn't really fit in a way, and I'm saying it in a good way, mind you. So I would like to see her again on All Stars. With that said, I don't think that she would do it. Hador declined doing All Stars 2 twice before saying yes, and you can see the results. You can see the results. I mean, I completely understand when she says, I want to be in the right mindset, because, you walked away once, you walked away twice. You're not saying that Jen is stupid, you're saying that she's young, and that comes with in the back. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. She's naive. She's naive. And being naive is not something that is necessarily age related. And it's not something that has necessarily anything to do with how smart or stupid or quick or slow you are. It's just that she's naive. She trusts for some reason. She doesn't have that level of that degree of separation that makes her look things a little bit more from the outside so that she can get a different perspective. She tends to see the things that she wants to see. And that was completely exploited. She doesn't look like she has recovered yet. I don't think all winners should be a regular. You cannot make it a regular thing. Can you imagine seeing the same winners competing over and over again? No, I think if we really get it, I think we will get one season and that's it. Unless they started doing international all winners, which, I mean, they are shitting a new season of Drag Race every couple of weeks at this point, so maybe that would happen. But no, I think if they do it, it's going to really be something special. Something that happens one, and maybe we see another one again in 5 years. Bandel Krem said she would like to be back on All Stars. What do you think about that? I don't think she has anything to gain from that. She was so scared of destroying her image when she came back for All Stars, she basically threw away a win. So I don't know. I don't know if I would do it. I don't need to. I've seen enough of Ben. I don't need her to be under contract from World of Wonder again. People don't understand that Adore was still grieving her father's death during her time on All Stars 2. I didn't even know that she had a loss. Didn't even know that. Based on UK versus the world, I honestly don't trust production with an all-winner season. Nothing is elevated. Same challenges, same lip-sync stuff. Nothing special. Well, if they want to, World of Wonder can produce great Drag Race. They can do it. They can. They have the talent to back it up. They know how to do it. They have the money to do it. The problem is, do they want to? Because sometimes it looks like they have so many things on their hands that they're like, okay, I cannot do everything at this level of greatness. I will just gloss over it because we can't do it. We are an established franchise. Or I don't want to hire more people to do the job. So, I will work with the people that I have, and whatever comes out, comes out. But they know how to make good Drag Race. For me, it's not if they can do it. For me, the problem is, do they want to do it? Or are they just like, well, we are established, we can get away with shit. Let's do shit. No, let's be lazy. Let's maximize our profit. For me, that's really the problem. So I hope they bring on the big guns if they really do an all-winner season. Because if you don't do it for an all-winner season, then all hope is lost. Jen just needs that one friend that slaps you in the face and anchors you in reality. She also needs a hug. Poor Jen, I love her. Oh, JP, I kind of agree. Well, maybe not slap her in the face, but she needs a group of people to anchor her in reality and to, be inside that group of people for a long time, possibly with exclusive contact to that group of people. But it has to be like a group of people very anchored to reality. And that way you can bring back the perspective. It's time for a villain winner. Villain winner? No, I don't think so. The audience is too young for that. Adore is still living off her unused runways. Do you remember how good were the first 3 seasons of Drag Race? Although Nina Flowers and Manila didn't win, it was so good. They were... Everything until season 6 for me was great. You could really see from season 4 to 6 that they started producing it a little bit more. But the first 2 seasons in particular were so real. It feels strange watching it like with the standard of today. It's so bare. It's so brutal in a way. So realistic. If we had something like season 2, herring today, people would lose their shit. Imagine people like Raven, people like season 2 Tatiana, people like Tyra coming out on a season today. My God. Oh my God. Okay, listen, we're going to cut this one short. I'm literally sleeping on the chair. What are we going to do next? I hope to have the review out in a couple of days, hopefully. And there is also a little bit of something I've been working on. It's something stupid. So nothing extremely interesting, but it's a passion project. It's a small passion project that I've been keeping it on the side for a while, and it can also be useful. Nothing fancy, but I hope to have it out next week. Then after that, I'll see you back on Sunday, as usual, same time, same place. In the meantime, I am on Discord, I am on Twitter, I am via email, I am on Patreon, I am in a ton of different places. If you need to reach out, it won't be difficult to find me. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you will have a nice week. Don't get triggered too much about UK versus the world. I will not watch it, but I will definitely read the spoilers about it. And with that said, have a good night, and thank you so much for joining me. See you next week.